Darlene Madu, good evening. How are you today? Tiewu Aboaba, blessings. Long time. I've not seen you for some time. Oh. Blessed. William Olatunde Ilo. Blessings. Anne-Marie, blessings. Nick Joyce Arrow, blessings, welcome. Paul Oriade, welcome. Nice to see you guys. Patty Pat, I really pray that today we'll go through because such an important personality I want us to examine. Such a good example. Innocent Magaji, bonsoir. Nkiro Jimadu is here. Ben Apute, I'm expecting you tomorrow. Apute Ben. Now you go be the hero tomorrow. Although my wife would have been a great thing for the Ojimadus, but they might not be ready yet. Since they are going to be here. Not yet. Okay. Okay. Oluwatoyin Bidemi. Blessings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jane Musanka. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Adiola Disu, good evening. Justin Mayo. Welcome. Julian Goya. Welcome. Denise, welcome. Edwin Amimi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ufu Oma Anigoro. Bless you, welcome. Ireti Akinrowo, blessings. I hope you will soon be in Ukraine. Obia Ojimadu is here. Blessings, blessing. Well, while you are coming in, I want to begin to take up from where I stopped last night. I'm sorry for what happened. First of all, let me apologize for that. Last night, something went wrong with the computer. I don't quite know what it was, but we couldn't just get the thing to work. I was not even aware that it was frozen. I kept on talking until somebody alerted me of that. So sorry for that. But today, I really hope that things are going to go well. And believe you me, this personality that we're going to talk about is so worth it, so worth it. Okay, so today, my message is part 2. I don't know if my people put part 2. Don't forget Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer part 2, of course. Don't forget Dietrich Bonhoeffer part 2. Now, I've given a little bit of his story, a summary of his story yesterday, but I will just run over it a little bit. But today I want to talk about his principles. So Dietrich Bonhoeffer is a German that really was zealous for God. And because he was zealous for God, he decided to go to study theology in America. But he was so good there that he got a job with one of the leading theological schools there in Germany. And so he became one of the leaders of the school. He became a worker and the leader, one of the directors, one of the managers of that school. So, you know, it's like his destiny and his fate is made up, is made. He's so successful. So, but at the end of the day, something very interesting happened. Because, was it ID? You are the one I was using as an example yesterday. Make you come continue where I left you from yesterday. Okay. ID, by the way, congratulations on your, was it yesterday you did it? Or today? It was today you did it, yeah. Congratulations on your first live broadcast. People, they talk now. This message, they walk. People are coming out now to reveal the truth. to expose the truth. Everybody started their own platform and their own program now. So, ID, can you imagine you are in America? Let's say you are Dietrich. You are in America. You've done so well for yourself. God has blessed you. And then you are now one of the leaders, one of the heads of this theological school. And it's called Union Theological Seminary. And so this is just the time when it's like time for you to begin to reap. When you are now being paid in American dollars. And then all of a sudden, you heard about the news that back in your country, let's say Nigeria, that there is supposed to be things are bad there, that the country is about to break apart and to be disintegrated. But in Germany, something similar was happening. The country was falling apart because of the regime of one man, Adolf Hitler. And this man decided that he made a decision. He said, if I stay here in New York and just keep on working and praying, because that's what most people would do. Most people would just go ahead and be praying for their beloved country. It is so beloved that the only prayer they could send there. So instead of just praying for his beloved country, Germany, he said, no, that will not go. That is not the attitude of a real Christian. If I'm a real Christian, I must not be too afraid of pain, consequences for him personally. I must not be too afraid of personal losses. I must not be too afraid to do what is right. And I know that what is right now is to go and be with my people, is to go and be with the people of Germany in their time of need, especially with the Christians. Since I said I'm a Christian leader, and the Christians are being persecuted now, and the Christians who opposed Hitler were being put in the concentration camp and were being, killed. So this man said, you know what? I would rather lose my comfort, but do what is right. The question I have for you people who are watching me today is, how many of you will be bold enough to take that kind of decision? Will you be ready to leave your home country? I mean, your country where you are settled, where God has blessed you. And many of us who are here with me are foreigners. You are immigrant in your country of abroad. So like myself, I am not I'm a Nigerian. So Nigeria is my native country. And now I am here. So will I be bold enough? Will I love God to that extent? Can I love my people to that extent? Can I love the truth to the extent of saying, let me leave my comfort here. Let me leave my high heel here to go back to Nigeria. When I even announced to the world that I'm going back to Nigeria, everybody, my friends, pastors, even these are men of God. These are seasoned men of God. You know what they were telling me? And they were saying, how could you labor in a foreign land and not wait to eat the fruit? They said, no, but that is a curse. They said here, the prayer you pray is that may God never allow that to happen to you. That you will suffer, and then when it's about time to begin to enjoy, that you now leave that place where you have suffered and go back to begin to suffer again. They said that to them is like a curse. That, Pastor, may that not be your portion. Yeah. May that not be your portion. No. They are praying for me, wishing me good, wishing me well. So they are not even wishing me to be in the will of God. They are not wishing me to do what pleases God. They are not wishing me to please the heart of the Father. They are not wishing me to seek the face of God and make sure that I'm pleasing Him and I'm doing what God wants me to do. They are not pleased, even talking about the principles that, that what principle are you following? And the same thing, I'm sure, this Dietrich Bonhoeffer went through. Dietrich Bonhoeffer decided that he was going to resign his job as a director in the Bible seminary, theological seminary, and go back to Nazi Germany, where Adolf Hitler was sending people to concentration camp left, right, and center, where he was killing people, gassing them, and just doing some horrible thing. And he knew, he was aware that anything could happen. But you know what his argument was? He said, let's say you had he said, yes, you people who are convincing me to wait till the war finishes before I go to Germany to go and help. He said, I understand you. But if I stay back right now when the war is going on, when it's tough for the people, I stay back in the comfort of New York and until the war finishes. And now after the war finishes, I said, now I'm now going with humanitarian project. He said, I will not have the moral confidence and the moral weight and the moral, what do you call it, authority to participate in the restoration of the country. He said, I don't want to participate after the war has been won. I would rather participate, contribute, make my quota when they are most difficult, when people are suffering the most, not when their suffering is almost over or is over. And you know what he did? He went, he resigned his job and moved to Germany. But you wait, that's not even the most alarming thing this man did. You know the most alarming thing he did? He left a few months after I just wedded. And that's still not the end of the story, because he left the wife behind so that he would go and navigate and see things for himself. Either to get her later on or not. As soon as he landed, he was arrested and sent to the concentration camp. He never saw her again. Few months, bride, wife, family. But he kept on talking and, kept on doing the most he could do. Kept on writing and kept on, protesting and doing as much as he could do. But let me tell you the most tragic event that happened. Hitler capitulated in April 20-something of April. Died, and in April, 2 weeks before then, this guy in the concentration camp, just before the end of the war, 2 weeks to the end of the war, he was killed. He was murdered. So he stayed there the whole war, all the suffering. 2 weeks just about to finish. Because they were executing them, by bash by bash. It was his bash. But you wait. The interesting thing about this whole story is that if he had stayed back and not been killed, if he had stayed back, he was hung, yeah, he was hanged. Mm-hmm. But he would have if he had stayed back, he would have preserved his life. Okay, are you listening to me? If he had stayed back, he would have preserved his life. He would have lived for long. If he had stayed back, he would have had children with his wife or fiancé. His children would have been alive today. If he had stayed back, he would probably have gone back there after the war and still contribute and still help in building the country. But one thing would have been the same. One thing that would not be the same is example. It would have been without a name because nobody would have remembered him. He left a bigger legacy and a bigger memory for standing for what he believed and for standing for what is right. In death, he immortalized himself. That is why sometimes death is better than life. dying sometimes is superior to living. Risking life at times is preferable to running from death, from preserving life. That might not be logical to a lot of people, but you know what? It is the wisdom of God. Whatsoever you are willing to preserve and to keep, normally you lose it. But when you are ready to lose something, and you indeed lose it, like in this case, that could be the greatest thing that will happen to you. But it's so, you really need to develop your spirit before you could come to this kind of conclusion. You really need to be very matured. You really need to be, because he didn't know that this is lectures and his books and his writings and his articles will be preserved and will be immortalized. He just did it by faith. But because by faith he was following the principle of the immortal God, that immortal God that he was following will make him immortal. That immortal God that he was following is trying to prove to us that the principle that he is following are immortal. And because the principles are immortal and he committed himself wholly and totally to those principles, he will be resurrected by those same principles. Those principles will keep him immortal, not just in heaven, but on earth and in the world to come. That's why Jesus said, those who really believe in me, those who believe in me proper, even if they die, they will never die. They will live forever. Why? Because my principles live in them. That is why truth is superior to human wisdom. Because the greatest commitment is commitment to the truth, not to your fears. So once you are committed to the truth will resurrect. Even if that truth is being killed and murdered and cut into pieces 1,000 times, every time, every part of that truth is going to be resurrected. And once the truth is going to be resurrected, and once the truth resurrects like that, the one who believes and committed himself to that truth is resurrecting with it. So, the greatest thing that could happen to this man, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, is because he stood for what he believed. He stood by the truth. Okay, Olukayode is asking, sir, for clarity, how will you differentiate his action from suicide mission? Oh, suicide mission doesn't have anything to do with commitment to the truth. Suicide mission is not based on some principles of truth or principles of eternal truth. Suicide mission is normally a risk taker. Suicide mission is always, some people being driven by some made up or by some manipulation or some misunderstanding of some sort. But here, this man is committed to the truth of standing for what he believed, standing for the truth of God and of the word of God. Based on that, thank you so much, Heidi. Based on what you just said now, I'm going to give you the principle that this man believed, okay? Not all of them. He has a lot of quotations, but I'm going to give you those quotations that I think most depict his ideology, principles, and what he believed in. But what I would do actually is that I want to also do a whole week just on the doctrines and the principles of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I'm going to do a whole series on the principles. You will not believe it. I have my own revelation, my own insight on some of his truth, and you'll just be blown away. Okay, one of the quotations he said is, I have come to the conclusion that I made a mistake in coming to America. Because it was like me, like most of us today, economic refugee. Although I would not call myself economic refugee, because we came on scholarship, really. Right. So, but a lot of our people are going as economic refugees out of Nigeria and to Europe and to all the countries. People they are not going on scholarship, they are not going to study, they are just running away. So, but he admitted, but how many of us can stand up to our fault and to our mistakes and admit those mistakes and then be willing to do restitution and to make amends? So that's what he did. Those are the things that made him great. He didn't just do the talk. Okay, can you imagine that if he had said this, that I made mistake by coming to America, then he went back home after the war? It means he talked the talk, but he never he never walked the walk. And so that's why he became a monumental figure in history. And like I said yesterday, this man is being adored and worshipped and loved by both the right and the left. He is loved by both the Democrats and the conservatives. He is loved by both the activists who are conservatives and especially even people who are socialists and communists. Why? Because they said he is one of the few men in history that, in modern history that is, that actually walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk. And he's one of the real Christian figures from the days of the patriarchs who actually demonstrated that Christianity is still alive today and that the gospel of the scriptures, that they could still be lived for and died for. So if he had just said, oh yeah, I made a mistake from coming to job, I want to go back after the war is finished, nobody would have paid attention to what he's saying today. But because he actually left the comfort zone and went there when things are tougher and most difficult, now people believe that, yeah, this man is for real. He believes it and is ready to die and put his life online for what he believed. So he said, I have come to the conclusion that I made a mistake in coming to America. I must live through this difficult period in our national history with the people of Germany. You know, for me now, I'm so comforted that I'm not ashamed now to read this scripture. I am not ashamed because I would have been contemplating before that, what about me? I'm writing about this man, I'm saying this man is a hero, but I'm staying here while Nigeria is falling apart. Even though I'm trying to do my best from here. But in my own case, God knows better. God knows that if not for this lawsuit, I would have been gone. And God put me under a situation whereby even if I want to go, I have to wait for the lawsuit to be over. So God knows that if I go out of emotions rather than out of wisdom, that like Nigeria, people hate me like crazy now, especially pastors. I read every day what pastors are writing. They said I'm bashing Nigerian pastors, so I'm spoiling their business, so they are out to get me. So God knows what he's doing. He's going to release me and make me to be able to go at his own time. Because if I have not been held back like that, I would have just done it out of determination and all that. But I'm not ashamed now because I know that I'm ready to go. It's just God has not released me to go back. But I'm ready to go back and to go and be with my people and to do just like him in the most trying period of history, to stay with the people. He says, I will have no right to participate in the reconstruction of Christian life in Germany after the war. If I do not share the trials of this time with my people, if I do not share the trials of this time, then I don't have the moral right to go back and participate in the reconstruction after the war. So it's to walk the walk. He stood his ground and walked the walk. So that's why he was so honored and respected and loved. The next statement, another ground-making statement and quotation that is credited to him says, you could see, if you begin to read all his works and his quotations, you will know that this man was a man of principle. No doubt. He believed in his principles and he lived according to them. So, then what is another thing he said is, on silence. Okay, another thing he said is, silence in the face of evil is itself. This is one of the most popular things he said, and it's most, at least some people say it's not the one who said it, but it doesn't matter. That's what it's most credited for. That silence in the face of evil is itself evil. This is in line with kind of thing we have been talking about. And by the way, I see Amorashi Jerry. I see Amorashi Jerry is here. And I want to commend you that you started to talk and you started to write articles. I think Olukayode Ekundayo also has started to write articles. And I see that people from the platform have really started taking on the challenge. I even see that Pastor Clement has started to do video. And that's what we need. We need as many voices as possible to begin to talk and address, either to write or to talk, or, just to begin to break that culture of silence that has just, suffocated our people. We need to begin to talk about the truth and expose the truth. So he says, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. Amazing. That is to say that if anything is going wrong and we keep quiet, we are actually speaking. Our silence is condoning whatever evil is going on. So if some evil things are going on in our church, in the congregation that we attend, and it's a widespread thing and the thing is really bad, we are condoning it when we are silent about it. Because not to speak is to speak. Not to act is also action. Your silence and lack of action is a position. In silence, you are agreeing with the evil that is happening. So silence in the face of evil is itself evil. Then, another quotation that is credited to him says, Jesus Christ lived in the midst of his enemies. At the end, all his disciples deserted him. On the cross, he was utterly alone, surrounded by evildoers and mockers. For this cause, he had come to bring peace to the enemies of God. So the Christian, too, belongs not in the seclusion of a cloistered life, but in the thick of foes. Now, there are a lot of statements here, so let me read them one by one. Jesus Christ lived in the midst of his enemies. So that's the reason why he said he will not stay away from Hitler, but he will go in the midst of the Nazi Germany, where people hated him, where people hated what he stood for. He will not be so intimidated by fear. The question I have to all of us is, are we not intimidated by fear? Don't we stay away from controversy? One of the interviews that somebody asked me from Nigeria, my country, a journalist actually, is, why are you so controversial? Why do you like controversy so much? Why are you always running into? Everybody's running away from trouble. You are running into it. What is the problem? I said, controversy is synonymous to significance. Anytime you want to be relevant and significant, it will attract controversy. But if you don't love controversy and you stay away from controversy, it means that you eliminated yourself from significance. Because there is no way you will be popular. You show me a popular or a successful human being that doesn't have stories and controversy surrounding in their lives. It's not possible. So if you are afraid of controversy and you still want to live for God, it's not possible. Even the Bible says that if you want to live a godly life, you'll be persecuted. Even if you want to live a godly life, just by godly itself, you want to please God, by all means, 100%. You want to do your job, your best to please God, you'll be persecuted. There is just no way. The same thing, if you want to live a successful life too, you cannot be utterly and totally successful without being controversial. So if controversy is your problem, controversy is synonymous to significance. If you are saying, I don't like controversy, I hate controversy, that means that you hate relevance and significance. If you say, I don't like significance, I don't like controversy, well, it means that you don't like to be significant. And there's no way you could be yearning in your heart to be significant and then still run away from controversy. So, believe me, guys, if you are afraid of controversy, change your mind from right now. I was like that. Can you believe it? There used to be a time that I was always saying, okay, I like to be loved by everybody. Until I read when Jesus book say, if everybody is saying to you good words, and you are loved by everybody, who I said, no, that I don't want again. He said, woe unto you if you are loved by everybody. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I got the opposite of being loved by everybody. Now I'm hated almost by everybody. And that's the normal thing. Even Jesus couldn't do it. Even Jesus couldn't make it to be loved by everybody. So you just embrace it. So if you really want to live right, if you want to live a godly life, if you want to live right, you must just admit already ahead of time that there are some people who are not going to like you, or who are even outrightly going to hate you. Controversy is synonymous to significance. So I threw away my dream of being liked and loved by everyone. And I began to embrace the life of controversy. Once the controversy started, you know what I discovered? Controversy is the stairways to fame. Controversy is the stairways or staircase to fame. Controversy is the staircase to fame. Because once the controversy started like this, they didn't stop until they led to the floor of fame. Controversy will always land you. It's a staircase that lands you on the floor of fame. So controversy leads to fame sooner or later. Even if it is wrong controversy or it's wrong news or even lie, deceptive news and everything, controversy always lead to fame. It is the way to be famous. There is no fame. You cannot be famous without controversy. So for you to be running away from controversy is for you not to understand life. For you to be running away from controversy is to be running away from the things you are dreaming of. For you to be running away from controversy is to be running away from the very thing that are supposed to make you who you need to be. So take care of yourself. Take it easy. Everything is okay. So the example of Dietrich Bonhoeffer was Jesus. And he says here that Jesus Christ lived in the midst of his enemies. He was not afraid or intimidated enough by the enemy to run away. And the question for you that I have is, are you intimidated by your enemies? Are your enemies forcing you to keep quiet? Well, I'll tell you what, it means then your enemies have become your Lord. You see, there is a history that I read. Can I see you? Can you come also? Who is another person I can use? I think I might have to call you this time. ID. You are a man, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You are not a girl.
Not a girl.
You are a man.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that one that is near you there, with the big ear, is she a man or a girl?
I didn't know.
You don't know? I will tell you, I know she's a girl. I know. Okay? She's not a man. But you, at least you know who you are. Okay, that one is better. I thought you might not know also. So you know who you are. Who are you?
I'm a man.
Okay, and she's a
girl.
She's a girl, good. So other men around you are now telling you, because what happened is that a controversy happened among you, or a conflict. And you know what the girl did to you? She moved to you and gave you a dirty slap. At least for at least one fact that you say you don't know that she's a girl. So she moved close to you and did the needful thing. Gave you a dirty slap. And then you say, you slapped me, you slapped me. Then the men that were around you came to you and said, did you just slap you? Why are you waiting? Are you not a man? Slap her back now. Not just slap her back, beat the nonsense out of her. And you know the answer that this man that I read about gave. The answer is this. We will not do that because I will not do that because I will not go down to her level. That if she slapped me, that I will slap her back. Now they said, I did, but other men do it now. Other men don't allow those kind of not rubbish. If a man will dare to lift a hand against us, we will just beat the hell out of her. If a woman will do that. You know what the man said? He said, well, I know that they do that. Men do. I know some men do that. But those men who do that are not my role models. I don't copy them. I don't copy. They are not my teachers. I cannot allow myself to be taught by people of lower value or lower essence. The people of lower degree, of lower essence, of lower value system. I cannot follow their example, because if I follow their example, it means I'm saying they are my teachers. They are not my teachers. I have a better teacher, Jesus Christ, who said, if they slap you in the one shake, give the second one. That is my teacher. That is my example. That is my role model. So, but why are you not defending your interest? Why are you not beating them back? Well, other people do it now. Well, those people who do it, they are not my role model. I don't care what they do. I'm not supposed to follow them. They are not my mentors. I know what my mentor demands me to do. I know what my mentor would have done. I know what my mentor would have done. How he has taught me. I have a role model, a better role model than that. A role model that is above. So I will not reduce myself to the place whereby people of lower values will be the ones for me to copy. I will rather copy the man who is my role model, a man that comes from above, man of a higher value system. So when next time you see other people doing something, you ask yourself, do I wish for them to be my mentor? Do I wish to follow them? Because if I follow them or I do as every other person does, it means I'm saying that person is my mentor. Now, for example, let's say whatever your country do. People in your country, everybody in the country is looking for money, living for money and everything like that. And you say, why are you not working for money? I'm not working for money. But that's what all your colleagues are doing. That's all your age mates are doing. Yes, those people who are doing that, they are not my role models. I don't fashion my life after them. I fashion my life after understanding of life. I don't know if you people get it. Don't just do what other people do. So if people are afraid of going to live amongst their enemies, that doesn't mean I have to be like that. Because they are not the authority for me. I have a greater example and a greater authority. And the greater example that I have is that God has not given us the spirit of fear. So I'm not afraid of going to live amidst the enemy. And the conventional wisdom is that if you see an enemy in your vicinity, run. But this man is telling us, no, if you see an enemy, go love on him. Because Jesus lived among people who hated him, among people who were ready to do evil to him, and among people who mocked him. Thank you so much, guys. Another thing we see in this sentence is that at the end, Jesus' disciples deserted him. And he was not afraid to stand alone. So the question I'm having for all of you is, are you afraid to stand alone? The fear of standing alone, the fear of being controversial, is it keeping you from telling the truth? Is it keeping you from standing for the truth? Is that fear keeping you from standing for what is right? The fear of being alone, being deserted. Okay, some people are saying, your disciples are leaving you now. Some of you, oh, even the closest are leaving you. Well, I'm in good company. I am in the company of the Lord Jesus Christ. You know what Jesus said when they came to tell him that his disciples are leaving? He said, maybe you too want to leave. So there is nothing strange and nothing uncommon in that. You must be ready to lose everybody willingly and not be afraid of that. Everything belongs to God. Everything is already yours. You cannot lose anything. Then he said, on the cross, he was utterly alone, surrounded by evildoers and mockers. What will happen when that happens to you? We used to be able to love like Jesus loved. For this cause, he had come to bring peace to the enemies of God. So he was even bringing peace to those who hated him, who were killing him. He was bringing them love, forgive them. He was bringing them forgiveness, even in the process of them killing him. What is your own attitude to enemies? So Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he offered us wonderful theologies into the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. That we are not to kill our enemies, because in some Christian circles, they don't just run away from the enemy, they even kill him. They won't pray that that enemy will die. But here, he was not running away from them, talk less of trying to kill them. He was going to live amidst them, to love them, and to show them God's nature. He was going to bring peace and reconciliation between their enemies and God and their Creator. So the Christian too belongs not in the seclusion of a clustered life, but in the thick of foes. Those are the things this guy is saying. Don't be afraid of enemies. Even if it is a thickness of force of enemies, go and give them love. Go and bring them peace. Go and bring them well. Wish them well. Go and bring them kindness. Dear children of God that are listening to me, remember the quotation I just read earlier before this. Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. Let me ask you guys, are there things that are taking place in your family? Now, I don't say go and be mentioning your family and be exposing your father and mother. I didn't say even go and expose your brethren or something. If you want, but I'm talking about exposing evil practices, not individuals. So don't go and be, saying I'm from this family, my father lives in that place, my mother lives in that place, my mother did this, my father did this. No. That's not your business. That will not be wise. We are talking about exposing evil. We are talking about, speaking out against evil, but not against individuals. So don't touch any human being. Our fight, our battle, or our whatever it's called, warfare is not against flesh and blood. So don't begin to focus on individuals. Bless individuals, love individuals, but expose evil deeds. Expose evil deeds. Unless those evil deeds are already known and everybody is already talking about it. Like the last time I spoke about that, the prophet something. Everybody is already talking about that. And it's already in the internet. So that's different, because you are not the first one to it. You didn't expose it because you are not the first one to talk about it. It's been exposed already. So for example, people always tell me, why do you share things that are bad about other people? I said, because it's already been written. I don't believe that. It's already out there. Even if I don't share it, other people will share it. You know, I'm not exposed. That is not called exposing. That is just sharing what is already out there. So if they don't even read it from me, they will still read it from somewhere else. That is different. I can only share what has been exposed when it comes to individuals. But what we are supposed to fight against are evil deeds, not individuals. So now the question I have is that what is your own culture? What is it? What is the culture that you are exposed to? What is it that is more prevalent in your response, attitudes, and reactions? Will you most likely be silent even when evil are going on around you? Will you rather just keep it to yourself and say it is not my problem? Will you rather be silent about destruction, injustice? If you do that, then you are not going to be guiltless. You are not going to be guiltless. You are not to be innocent. You are going to be guilty before the person you are afraid of, and then the people you refuse to stand for justice for, and then also you are going to be guilty before God. God will not hold you guiltless. Because even when you are quiet, that way you are actually propelling evil. DSA, is it okay to share the truth about the sacramental experience with other people? Oh yes, definitely. If you know the evil that is happening, not just the sacramental experience, but even all the evil that is happening or being done by that man, since it's the truth, you know the truth, you can talk to people individually about that. And that is a whole organization where people are being captivated. You have to talk about that, the evil that is happening in that place, and that is being perpetrated by, you know, that person. So for sure, you have to. But you are not attacking individual. You are attacking the evil practices. But it's even worse to be silent. Because to be silent means to actually speak. Not to act, because it's not enough to just be speaking. Because if you will not act, it means you're actually acting. If you are not acting, it means that you are acting in support of the evil that is happening. How do you expose evil without exposing the individual that is doing well, that is doing evil? The way to expose them is the way I've been exposing them here. Just listen to all my teachings that have been coming in for the past 1 month. You will see that I'm exposing evil. I don't necessarily need to mention anybody, but once I say, for example, if you go to any church where people are telling you, you have 10,000, but I come here, and God told me that 5 people or 10 people are going to give $1,000 each, and you know, and if you are one of those 1,000, will raise your hand, and then, you know, 500, and then 300, and all that. If you go to a church where that is being done, run for your life. That is not a church; it's a cult. So once I say that, did I mention a name that way? Me, I didn't mention a name, but I just mentioned the practices that are happening there. The evil that is being done, perpetrated there. For example, if I say any church you go to and you don't know what they are doing with your tithe and offering, keep your tithe and offering in your pocket, and rather use the tithe and offering for the change that you want to create by yourself. Use your tithe and offering to improve the lives of people. Use your tithe and offering to feed the poor, to take care of the needy. Jesus said, I was naked, you didn't clothe me. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. Did I mention a name that way? No, but I'm exposing evil. Once I say, for example, if you go to a church where they tell you you have to take permission before you do anything. You cannot go to anywhere. You cannot go to anywhere. You have to take permission. You have to come for blessing. That is a cult. Did I mention anybody? I didn't. But I mentioned the practice. I am attacking the evil. One of the reasons that we don't attack individuals is that individuals can still repent. And we want them to repent. Individuals can still change. And we want them to change. Individuals might not even know that they are doing evil sometimes. Might even be innocently faulty. Just like I said that I used to say tithe come to church before. And that I repented because I was looking for the truth and God helped me. So, you know, that's why, but if you begin to attack individuals, it's like you are, you know, condemning them already. That's why if you just expose the truth knows how to help people out later on. You get it? Okay, let's keep on talking about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Another wonderful quotation that is credited to him says, "We are not to simply bandage the wounds of victims beneath the wheels of injustice. We are to drive a spoke into the wheel itself." What that is saying is that whenever we see injustice, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough for you to just say, okay, these are the victims of this problem. So let's just go and help them. Okay, you have come out now, so let's just help you. That is not enough. When you see that the thing is evil, attack the root of the evil itself. So that means, for example, if I say, if you go to a church where they say you need permission for anything you do, that without permission you cannot go anywhere. Without permission you cannot do this. Without permission you cannot do that. Pastor has to bless you for this. That, oh, thank God you have escaped. Thank God you have escaped. Don't worry. Let's just come here. And just be quiet. Thank God you have escaped. But you don't talk about it to expose that evil practice, then you are actually feeding and fueling the machinery that is doing that. For example, let me give you another example. Okay, I should repeat the quotation again. Let me repeat it for you. We are not to simply bandage the wounds of victims under or behind or beneath the wheels of injustice. What is wheel of injustice? Wheel is like the train. The wheel of the train is crushing people. So you took one out and you are bandaging it. You are supposed to stop the train, the wheel from rolling. Because when the wheel of the train is rolling, it's killing more people. That is what we should stop. Not just to say, I have bandage here. It's just like, you know, there is a certain article that came out recently. And the man said, why I left this particular church. And giving facts there. And somebody said, why should you mention the name of the church? Because he wants to stop the wheel. That is different. That is, you know, that is just pure fact. He wants to stop the wheel that is crushing people. And, you know, because it's a system. That is a whole system. You need to stop the system of evil, the system of injustice. Okay, for example, somebody just told me now that there is a certain church in Nigeria where if you try to expose them, they send assassins after you. Not even one church, many churches in Nigeria. If you are coming against them for too much and too strongly, they send hired assassins against you. So I said, so why is nobody talking about it? Somebody told me that he even knows 4 cases when hired assassin was sent. One was killed, or two were killed. One escaped. One, because it's an American citizen, they beat him, they did that. I said, if you talk again, finish. So, this is why you people not talk. If you talk, you don't go, I didn't die. So. That's why that evil is continuing to be perpetrated. That's why that evil continues to grow. Because people don't want to expose. People don't want to tell the truth. How can churches be sending assassins, armed robbers, to go and be killing people who disagree with them? That's why we must all speak out against all this evil that are happening everywhere. So that's what he meant by this quotation. I will repeat that quotation again. We are not to simply bandage the wounds of victims beneath the wheels of injustice. We are to drive a spoke into the wheel itself. We are to stop the evil, the injustice itself. It's just like one girl now in this platform, on this platform said, I'm going to a certain church. If I mention the name of church, all of you know the church, where pastors are making all these choir members pregnant. And they came to church as virgins. And they are making them do abortions. And you are saying, thank God he has done the abortion. It's okay now, no problem. No. And then they will be making brothers to marry them. Because they will not know. They will say, don't worry, we'll secure your marriage. There is a sister here right now on my platform here today, right now. Brenda is her name. She's not afraid of saying it. In London, who went to the pastor to pray, because this pastor is a miracle worker, you know, all these miracle workers. The miracle worker from Nigeria, he came so that they, you know, they do all kinds of miracles. If you are barren, or if you are barren and what is it? If you are not married, if you are single, you know, I will pray God will give you a husband. So this particular man of God said, in my church in Nigeria, I have all these many church, I have many branches, many church, big church, and I have all kind of men there. I mean, there are so many, you know, men in that church that the only thing I give husband, I can introduce you. Well, these are my sons. When I tell them to marry this one, he will marry you. So husband, no problem. I'm going to give you husband. Let me pray for you. I give you husband, but I must be the first one to try you. And then that's number one, I think. And then the second thing is, even after you marry him, this is our agreement. You never stop me. It must be 3 of us in the marriage. That way, at least your home will be secured. These are big man. If I mention the name, you people will know it. So why do you say now that, okay, thank God we have saved that one? It's not enough to save that one. The wheels keeps on rolling and killing people. And you say we should keep quiet? This will not be the case. Oh. Even though I'm keeping quiet, I'm not mentioning the name. But as we are talking right now, at least somebody knows something somewhere. Joe will say, so I can come out. So that's why we must talk about these things. And the man called me one day and said I should invite him to my church here in Ukraine. And I just think, I didn't know this story then. I just didn't feel all right about that. And I'm thinking, okay, I just don't feel it. And I don't even want to invite too many Nigerians to my church, thank God. So it was after I refused, maybe I passed the test. God had mercy on me and made me hear this story. And now, can you imagine how many marriages? Can you imagine how many, couples he has wedded like that? And can you imagine how many, in fact, can you imagine, I never heard the word threesome or threesome? Threesome. I never heard the word threesome before in my life. The only, I never even did it. I said, I think I've been born again too long. I think I've been born again for too long. I'm too, they now say I'm behind. I'm too behind, I think. It's good not to be.
In this case, yeah.
Do you know how I got to know about threesome? It is through one of the men of God that was being accused. So I was in Nigeria. There is a certain man of God that was accused recently about, a woman came out and said. So the woman was talking about threesome that the man was saying, let's do threesome with some people. I said, what is this threesome? I'm just trying to answer. I will ask people, what is threesome? But it's just last week. Because I didn't get that threesome. I never got the answer to the end. Just last week, somebody was telling me what threesome was. I said, la, kuli. This threesome. What language? This is they have grammar. Is it? I thought it was just some Nigerian jargon or Nigerian slang. That's what I thought. But now what I'm even thinking is that it's like that word threesome is an international word. It is. Because the person who told me about threesome now, who explained to me what it meant, was a Russian. So if they know it, yeah, even here in Russia, they know what it means. Then the person, then it's just like in America, somebody told me, another man told me about swinger or something. See, yeah, there's something they call swinger also. I said, my God, where are they? Russia, don't lock me up. I didn't even do this. I didn't even heard all this. I didn't even heard of it. Believe me, I never even heard that these things existed. I said, where are they? They said somebody is writing DSA is old school. I think you can say like that. No problem. No problem. Okay. They said no problem. Somebody said DSA don't go so little too much. But I think there is an advantage. I think there is an advantage in that though. But okay, I don't know those ones, but that what they call. No, but then I know something else. And the other things I know, that's why people are coming to listen to what I'm saying. People don't know it too. So I don't know these other things. And then, but what I know, people don't know also. It's just like saying, we are going to swimming pool the other day. And I was telling the girls, because there was, I think it was Mayowa, she likes beautiful things. So she saw all kind of beautiful cars in that place, in the swimming pool area, in the place where we went. And she was saying, Pastor, there are so many beautiful, I said, then I saw them. She said, they are beautiful cars. I said, Mayowa, can you believe it? That I don't even know the name of the car, my own car, what it's called. Up to today, as I'm talking, I don't know the name. I know it's Toyota, that's the company. But the name, no idea. But they said, but Toyota is ready. They said, Toyota is ready. I said, Toyota, how can it be ready? They said, no, each car has a name. If you are there, you bother myself. The same with Mercedes, the same with all other things. We are no bother myself. You know, there are some people who know the name of every Mercedes or Toyota or another thing. I didn't have an idea at all. I didn't even know how many cars I have, but sometimes somebody told me that we have 5 cars. You think I know the name of any one of them? I don't know the name of any one of them. I'm not interested. It's not that I'm not capable of knowing if necessary, but what for? I don't just see the relevance. I'm not interested. I'm interested in other things. I want to create. I want to invent. I don't want anybody to invent, to improve me. I mean, to be making me to be following things that he created. Why I'm supposed to be thinking of what I could create. I don't know if you get it. Yeah. The same thing with iPad or iPhone. People tell me iPhone, this one number, this number, this. They say, tell me what is it? iPad, what number is it? Yeah, I don't know what number. I don't care what number. I don't know. So I was thinking it was our own that was old. I didn't even know that after my own, there are some numbers that have come out. They said, what number is your own? I said, it's either 2 or 3, one of them. They said, that's old. I said, okay. He said, yeah, what was I mean, I don't care for any number. I'm too busy thinking of what conversion I could do with my own head about what I already know. So, but I just choose my own thing, my own priority, what I want to know, what I don't want to know. So, but if it's a system that is killing people, that is destroying people, of course we need to expose that system. But, don't joke about me. I know a lot of things, but I don't know the other things. Just one day I was doing this program here. Somebody was talking about some girls, Shakaran or something. They said they are beautiful girls. So I said, what's their profession? Are they artists or singers? They said they are Shakaran sisters. Shakaran sisters. They said they are artists or something or singers in America. They said they make a lot of money They said they are beautiful girls and something like that.
Kardashian.
Ah, it's Kardashian?
Yeah.
Kardashian.
Yeah.
Kardashian. I thought it was Shakaran, people. It reminded me of Armenian name, and those Armenian is always
Armenian origin.
Shakaran, Kardashian.
Kardashian, they are Armenian origin.
But I said I never heard. I was like, how do you never heard of it? I said, why should I? What? I don't even say any connection. What are they doing that I should know them? You tell me. Or you were asking me about the other one, Beyonce or something. Are you not the one who was asking me about? You forgot? I said I don't even know how she looks like, Beyonce. No idea how she looks like. I had the name, but no idea of how she looks like. I will not recognize. If you put two pictures before me, I will not say which one is Kardashian, which one is Beyonce. Because it's not my life. I'm doing my own thing. Everybody is busy their own way. Because those are the little things that are stealing your time. But I'm busy. I am personally fighting against for my every minute. I'm personally fighting for my every hour. And my own problem is about converting. How can I convert the good things? How can I convert? I really what OB is writing. Yeah, you know, that's the, compared to these people, what do people know? Yeah, it's like, it's your right. Shakara sisters, indeed. So I have my own conversion to do. They are doing their own conversion. It's just like my daughters, for example. They used to watch movies a lot. So I said, okay, you come here. These movies we are watching there, you know there are some people, those people, what's the name of the people you are watching? They said, this is the name of this, this is the name of this. I said, who are they? I said, are they actors or actors? They are actresses. Okay. I said, these people are actresses. So. I said, you who are here, what is that giving you that you are sitting there? He said, oh, there might be some lessons. I said, okay, good. I said, but those ones who are there, who are acting there, you know it is their job. That is what they are making money of. So I said, you tell me what you would like to prefer. Would you like to prefer to be the one that everybody is sitting there in their home to look at? Or you want to be the one to sit at home and be looking at, be as an idiot looking at somebody who is making money off you? They never thought about it that way. I said, that's what, let me tell you the difference. The difference is that you have to perfect your own skill. If you are looking at that thing to perfect your skill, it's different. But just to entertain, you have become a biomass. But if you go perfect yourself somewhere so that you will be the one that people are looking at. Oh wow, yeah. So because you are either the one in the camera, in the iPad, or you are the one from outside in the iPad. So in your own case, I would rather be the one inside. So what do I need to do for that? I'm not an actor. No, you don't need to be an actor, but you must have some added value. Convert those hours that you are using to sit down here and just laugh. She said this. Instead of using your time to just get entertained and pleasure like that, convert that time to added value to you. Once it is added to you like that, those values, and then they will be other people will be watching you inside that box. That's when it got to them, yeah. Yeah, so, well, I see that you people are here, but, you know, the story of this guy, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, is very interesting story. There are a lot of quotations I could bring out of his life. But like I said, I'm going to do a whole program about him for a week. I'm saying for a whole series about him, maybe for a week or for 2 weeks, because there are a lot to learn from him. And there are a lot of things to, you know, learn from his wisdom. A lot of wisdom he has, and a lot of things to learn from those wisdom. And I'm going to come to you, exposing more, bringing out a lot of wisdom. I hope you've learned a little bit from his wisdom. But the idea is that this man is the most respected Christian right now out of the people who have lived our age, apart from Martin Luther King Jr. You know, he's definitely the most respected Christian out of Germany in this our generation. So there are two people. The reason I brought these two cases is that Martin Niemöller, his own was that he made the wrong choice. So that one, And this one made the right choice. So the Martin Nemila his case was that he compromised. He lived, but he repented, and then, but he suffered for it. He still went to prison. But this one took the right decision. He also went to prison, but he didn't compromise. But this guy is actually more famous and much greater, even in Germany itself, than Martin. But I mean Martin Nemila. But all of them are great because all of them later lived and died for what they believed. So I would like to encourage all of us to stand for something. Because if we don't stand, tomorrow I will talk about Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe that should be a good one too. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Should I talk tomorrow or day after tomorrow? I think I could do it tomorrow. Tomorrow I will talk about Martin Luther King Jr. Slušaj, umeja tačnenje naše. Nada prinesti na vodeta. Anata kini prinisla. I'm going to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. And his own principles as well. So I'm going to talk. You guys, buddy, come and help me. Come and continue with your pomada everywhere. Obi is here. Pastor Obi is here. So make it continue. They are the young ones. They are the ones who know the Kardashian and the Beyonce. So let them tell me. I know the Bonhoeffer. I know the Dietrich and the Nemila. Those are the ones I know. I don't know these other ones.
Yes, sir. Good evening, beautiful people. It's nice to be here. It's been a while, and in fact, this is a surprise. Pastor wasn't expecting me, but I, decided to surprise him this evening. Yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful time. Listening to all the series that Pastor has been, sharing all this while. Well, what can I add here? In life, right now, amongst, as we call ourselves, the chosen ones, we tend not to go the hard way. We want it to be easy for us. Even for what we believe in, we want it to be easy. We don't want to suffer for it. But it's very simple. You have to be ready. As you are part, and as you believe in that particular purpose, you're against a movement, you're against something happening. It's not enough just to wait for it to finish and then you come and help. Then you bring your donation, to feed somebody or to treat somebody. No. Like it was said earlier, bring the spoke into that wheel, into that system, into that machine, into the death machine. That is your job. And when you are doing that, you should not be afraid to die for it. But Christians nowadays, most of the pastors nowadays, some of them have like 100 bodyguards that their congregation cannot even come up to them to shake their hands. What are they scared of? So, we should be ready to suffer for what you believe in. You should be ready to suffer, to bear the pains. Even when you stand, even when you come out to speak against evil. It's not enough just to keep quiet. Because I believe that silence sometimes in such cases becomes agreement to what is going on. It becomes agreement to it. So if you keep quiet, in my place, there's a saying that an old man cannot sit and watch and let a she-goat give birth with the rope tied to his neck. You're supposed to remove the rope from the neck, and the she-goat will go and find a very nice spot, comfortable spot, to be able to give birth. But when an old man does that, that's already very wrong. Most of you understand what I'm talking about. So, in this case, you people take yourself as the old man, and being old in this case is like you are wise. You are a wise man. It's when you have to take responsibilities. Stand up for the truth. No matter what anybody thinks about you, no matter what anybody says about you. I mean, I've faced this, and I'm still facing it today because I stand up and I say, no, this is wrong. I've been called names. I don't know. That's a different story for another day. So, when you are sure of your belief, don't think of self-preservation in this case now. You stand up. Stand up for something, no matter the cost, like Sister T.Y. is saying. So, my wonderful people, all the series that Pastor Sandra has been sharing and has been handling all this period, I mean, DIETRICH's case is something wonderful. It is something different. How many of us can do this? How many of us can stand up and risk? Somebody asked earlier, is it like what he did? Is it not like going for a suicide mission? There's a difference here. Let me try and answer that question. There's a difference here. When you are going for a suicide mission, you are like, in most cases, taken as a tool. And what you are going to do is like, it's out of emotions. Most of these people that go for suicide missions, like you had the kamikazes during this Japanese kamikazes during the Second World War, it was an act of desperation. They couldn't stop the machine that was coming. They were just thinking that let's just go and do something. It wasn't for a purpose. Somebody going for suicide mission is going to die. He's just going to die. But not necessarily that he's going to make an impact. He's made to believe that he's going to create an impact. And he's choosing just to die. But when you have the goal there, you are going to make an impact. This is the difference here now. You are going to say it, do it, and if it means dying, then you die. There's a difference there. There is a difference there. And most people who are like who go for who are like kamikazes, or let me call them, going for suicide missions, they are always like tools, like I mentioned earlier. They've been so much indoctrinated, they've been so much brainwashed, and they are sent by somebody behind them. But somebody who's really chasing, who has a purpose, who's going there to change something, he goes himself. He goes there to lead and to walk. And that is the difference here, like DIETRICH. So, let's put those two things aside, okay? What are people saying? Any questions? Anything maybe I can ask again?
Questions are congratulating you. Who else is talking?
Okay, who else is talking? All right, and here comes... okay, beautiful people, God bless you all. It's nice to see you, and I hope to be here again tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. All right.
Hello, everyone. So, as I was listening to Pastor speak, one thing that struck me also was the suicide thing, because I've been suicidal and at a very young age, and I think the difference between a suicide mission and being willing to die for the kingdom of God is just the difference between selfishness and love. When you are on a suicide mission, or when you are suicidal in any degree, it's just selfishness. It's just you focused on glorifying yourself. It's you focused on justifying yourself. It's you focused on vindicating yourself. But when you are willing to die for a cause, for the cause of the kingdom of God, you are willing to lay down your life for the benefit of others. It comes out of love. It comes out of wanting to save people, wanting to protect people, wanting to give people a voice. It doesn't matter how many stones are thrown at you if it means that they are not continue to be thrown at people who can't defend themselves, at people who can't stand up for themselves, or people who don't know, people who can't stand up for themselves. It comes from a different place of your heart. And that's why the matters of the heart are much more important to God than the steps that you take. You might be going to your death, but if you're going to your death in order to protect people, in order to stand up for people, in order to, bring light, in order to stop silence, then that's living, actually. That is actually more life than it is just to be walking around or trying to preserve your own life. There is more life in living for the cause of people and living for the cause of love and doing what God actually wants you to do for other people's life, even if that means the end of your life, because that kind of way of living is more fulfilling. You'd be surprised when you are able to let go of your life in that way, out of love. You are living more like 10 times better, life. I can't tell you how my life changed from the time that I wanted to commit suicide to the time that now I'm ready to just give my life to whatever God asked me to give my life to. Doesn't matter if I'm starving, doesn't matter if I don't have the car, if I don't have the big house, if my friends are getting this, my friends are doing that. It doesn't matter to me anymore, because what God showed me there is that people will have all the things that life has to offer and be dead. They'll be walking dead. I don't know if you've watched the show, zombies. They'll be walking through life dead because they have not found out the truth of life is to be willing to give over your life to something greater than yourself. And, we hear this often from many different great people, but we don't take them seriously. We almost think, oh, well, that's just you. But no, that's each of us. Each of us will find fulfillment when we find the thing that is greater than us, that is greater than even humanity. It is love, something that envelopes, something that covers all. And I think that's the difference. That's the thing that really struck me, is that, yes, thank you for the person who brought up the suicide mission thing, because I think that is a big thing to distinguish. We hear about religious people from other religions as well as in Christianity that are willing to do obscene things, just for the glory of their religion. But, that too is selfishness. If you're here to glorify Christianity higher than the principles of Christ, then that's idolatry. And it sounds funny, but the truth is that when we attach ourselves more so to our name of Christian, and we don't actually follow or demonstrate the principles of Christ, we are in idolatry. We are actually blind. We actually can't see that we're no better than the unbeliever. We're no better than the person who is doing wrong. We're no better than the people we point fingers at, if we are more attached to our self-preservation as Christians, and we are not willing to actually do what Christ did. So that's what I will say about that. Pastor also mentioned, I don't know how on topic this is, but he did also mention actresses, so I kind of feel compelled to talk about that as well, because I know that there was a time in my life where I didn't have any purpose, and during that time, I wanted to die. That was actually my period of suicidal living. But then after that time, I found what I wanted to do, and that was acting, and I had it planned out. I knew what I was going to do from point A to point Z, and I was going to do theater, and I was going to do this, and in the middle of it, in the middle of me going after what I wanted, God said, throw all of that away, and I want you to focus on film and television. And I cried, because I knew I was giving up something that was certain, or something that I thought was certain, the life that I had planned for myself. And so I guess this is kind of on topic. I was giving up what I knew I could do for something that God was telling me that he wanted me to do. Just like, I forgot, what's his name, Derek? Okay. Just like Derek, he was at a point in his, Dietrich. Okay. He was at a point in his life where his life was planned out for him. He had already accomplished so much. He had already had the way paved for him. And he had to make a decision. Am I going to live the life that I planned for myself? Or am I going to take the opportunity that God has set before me to make a statement for the principles? And I think that's what happened to me, is that I had to then go from choosing the life that I had planned for myself to the life that God had planned for me to have, because that life would ultimately not only be more fulfilling for me, but also more impactful to the world. And in throwing away my own plans and just living day by day, trying to follow God and where he's leading me to go, I've had more fulfillment, more joy, more adventure, more peace, more lessons that I've learned. I've gained more wisdom, trusting God that he was going to use my life to his greatest, dream for me than I would have ever if I had just followed my own plan, or just tried to preserve my own idea of success, or trying to preserve my own idea of or my own idea of what I should pursue. You know, had I just gone to do theater in New York, nobody would hear from me. You guys wouldn't even know me. I would have just been following my own steps. But, you know, God told me, he said, at this point when I was making the decision, he said, you can get everything that you want, but that's all that you'll ever get. If you follow me, I'll give you more than you can ever hope, dream, or imagine. So that's what I would like to leave you with. If you're worried about speaking up or going out and doing something, or going out and doing that thing that God has put in your heart, remember that you can do and you can accomplish and get all the things that you want, but that's all that you'll have. And you're not even sure if that will be fulfilling. But if you follow God and his unction on that, you know, still small voice he's put in your spirit to lead and guide you, you will have more than you could ever hope, dream, or imagine. So that's what I like to leave you with. If anyone else has.
Wow, that was Caro-wise, as usual. Yeah. Hello, everyone. You'll be seeing my face a lot this period, so get used to it. My name is Nkiro Jimado, or Nikki, as you wish. Hello, everyone. So we are on this fight, or on this movement, to stop the deception, to stop manipulations that we see, not only in the church, but in our society, wherever we find ourselves. No more silence, right? Time to keep on speaking up. So this example of, what is his name? DIETRICH, yeah? You know, is a wonderful one because he left his comfort zone, because most of us are so used to staying in our comfort zone, right? We are so used to saying, you know, it has nothing to do with me. Some people even call it family affair. Oh my goodness. If you've been following me on Facebook recently, I have been attacking these issues because I understood now that one of the reasons that I went to the city that I am now with my family is this, to tackle some evil that has been going on for ages in those churches that are in my city that people have been keeping quiet on. So this is one of the reasons that we are there. That is now my revelation. So if someone starts quoting the Bible for me to keep quiet, what do I do about those evil that I see? Should I keep quiet too until Jesus comes to settle the problem? Then why am I in that city? If I say that I am his mouthpiece that we call ourselves, I am his representative, what are you doing about the evil in your city? What are you doing about the evil that you see? That is a question for you. Or will you say you don't see any evil? That means you're not really looking well. Ask God to open your eyes to see the evil in your city that you're supposed to tackle, because we all say that we are the light of the world, yeah? We are the candle put on the hill, you know, all those verses that we preach and we quote concerning our lives. Now it's time to practice it. Now it's time to manifest. Now it's time to do. After praying, what do? You have to go and kill the evil in your city. Or even if you cannot solve it personally, you have to raise the awareness so that people will do. People will do something about it, those that are in the power to do it. So no more silence, my people. Any evil you see in your city, if you had the opportunity to hear it, if God gave you the honor to see it, if God gave you the honor to hear about it, you are the one to bring solution to it. You have to speak up. You have to do something about it. No more silence. God will hold you accountable. That's exactly what I hear about my own issue, about the issue in my own city. God will hold me accountable if I keep on saying it's family matter. Is the anointed, we are not supposed to touch them. But recently I have to understand that every one of us that have received Jesus Christ as his Savior is an anointed. He says, I have anointed you to set captives free. And that is our mission in our fields, in our societies, in everywhere we find ourselves. We are oracles of God. We are his mouthpiece. To quote that we should leave the weed to grow together with the crop or whatever till Jesus comes to weed, I don't think that that is the right thing. Okay? Let's keep on speaking against every evil we see. Every silence is just saying yes to that evil. Okay? We must not wait until it touches our families. We must not wait until it comes to, to our doorstep before we know that we will talk. But apart from that, like Maiwa says, that using that example is selfish. The fact that you are a representative of Christ in your society. As a church, we are supposed to. But now we understand now that this is not the building that is the church, that is me and you that is the church. So why are you quiet? I thank God that most of us are speaking up now. I thank God for Facebook, because most people will not invite you to their churches to talk, but you have the greatest platform on earth to speak the truth, and that is social media. Some say, why should you attack these problems on social media? That social media is not for such. What should we use? It's so funny. We can preach to the unbelievers on social media, but we can use social media to attack the evils that we see in our worship places. I think it's hypocrisy, okay? So let's start standing up, speaking against every evil in the society, because the Lord, Jesus Christ, is in heaven, but he lives in me and in you. So we are supposed to represent him. Yeah. My strategy is condemn the evil, but don't condemn the sinner. Because in most of my posts, some people are asking, say the name. I'm not saying any name. I am speaking against the evil, because I don't know if the guy that did the thing or is doing the thing has reconciled with the Lord. So it's not my duty to start calling his name. Okay? Just like the man on the tree said, tonight you will be with me in paradise. So it's all left for him and God to decide. But the sin and the evil must be condemned. But the sinner, we live in for God. Okay? So stand up for the evil you see in your society. Be a voice for someone. Because most people, they are so intimidated to talk. That is what I have seen. Most people are so afraid to talk. But you can. So why should you be quiet? Think about that. Okay, Queen Julie is coming to continue. Okay. Pastor ID, he said he's not a pastor, but we have made him one. So, there you are.
Good evening, everyone. This is ID. I'm not a pastor. I'm just an ID.
For now. Meanwhile.
Good evening. Wow. My mentor awoke me from my sleep. He awoke me because I was trying to be so nice and so calm. I awoke from my sleep. Let me give you a quote. Anywhere you see injustice today, somebody was silent over injustice yesterday. And anywhere there will be injustice tomorrow, somebody is silent over evil today. Let me repeat the quote again. Anywhere you see injustice today, somebody was silent over injustice yesterday. And if there will be injustice tomorrow, somebody is silent over evil today. I hope you got that. And another quote is, we don't die in an attempt to speak against injustice, but we die when we are silent over evil. Let me repeat it again. We don't die in an attempt to speak out against injustice, but we die when we are silenced over injustice, over evil. My mentor woke me up today. I am awake. In the world of controversy, I will go gaga. That is a Nigerian language. And for my take home this evening, it says, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. Not to speak is to speak, and not to act is to act. So I'm asking everybody on the platform, you should wake up. This is a wake-up call for everybody. You know, there are some churches that they are brainwashing their members that they want to prepare them to go to heaven. But these people are building mansions here on earth. Will the mansions go to heaven? They are in business. That business is called real estate. And it is only in real estate that is real. So we have to speak out. My generation is a generation of the sons of Issachar that understand the time. And this is the time that we are going to boycott all those cathedrals. And if you note now, I give you statistics. If you go to Nigeria, the numbers of churches building that we have is more than schools, is more than schools combined, and it's more than libraries combined. You have a lot of churches. I'm going to speak out, let government confiscate all the churches and turn them into libraries. See, until I traveled to Europe, that I was able to see that every street we have libraries. But in Nigeria, in Africa, every street you have churches. As I'm speaking to you, in my own house, we have 3 churches in my house back home. So I'm calling them to give them quick notice. So I don't want you to be silent over this injustice, over this organized religion in Nigeria and in Africa. It's time for us to liberate our people. Thank you, everyone. Julie is coming.
Hello, everyone. So I took a few notes for doing the teaching, because really Pastor just gives us so much, and if you don't take notes, you really miss out. That is what I confirmed for myself. What I want to start with is that the story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer really, to me, is such a beautiful story, because at some point we all will die, right? Every one of us will die someday. And the question really is not when are we going to die or how are we going to die, but what is it that we're going to die for? Because it's inevitable. And I think we as Christians really have to ask ourselves that question. What is it going to be that we will die for? Are we just going to die because, our body is going to give up and we were just there and we had nothing to do? Or are we going to die for something that was worth dying as Christians? And we have to imagine ourselves the situation that Dietrich Bonhoeffer was in, because he just got married. He was at the place where he would actually deserve to enjoy his comfort.
Yeah.
You know, to really be in a place where everyone would say that's an excuse you could have to say, let me relax, let me enjoy my time. But how many of us are in situations where we don't even enjoy the place that we are in? We, you know, complain about everything around us, and we try to escape that situation. And there is a place where we are needed, but we don't go there. We say, oh, maybe I'm not that uncomfortable after all. So we stay where we are, even though we're not happy. So we find all these excuses not to do anything. And at the end of the day, we say, I didn't do anything, but that's exactly it. We didn't do anything. And to me, this is just so striking, because how can someone who's in such a state of comfort, of earned comfort, something that he deserves, leaves it in order to die for a cause that he believes in order to die for the truth? Who's going to be ready to do that? So that really struck me, especially during this teaching today. And the other thing that I want to say is that this is something that especially applies to us Africans in the diaspora, who are talking about home, or, you know, who are considering to go home, but who know that home is actually in need of us, and we don't do anything. All we do is complaining about politics, you know, and corruption, and all these people who have their fingers in Africa, who are exploiting us, and who are doing this, who are doing that. But we're not doing anything. We're just sitting in our comfort that is not even comfortable, and we're just pointing fingers. I think this is really a shame. I think that this is something that really put God into a very, very bad light, especially for us. You know, we as a Black community, everywhere in the world, most of us consider ourselves Christians, and we say that, you know, we are blessed and we have Christ in our hearts and all of these things. But where are the actions that actually prove that? So I also have to share a quick story about myself, because before I came to Ukraine, I was in Ireland, and I was speaking to someone and telling her about the plans that Dr. Sunday has, and that I'm joining this team, and, you know, what we're going to do in Africa and Nigeria. And the person was saying, oh my God, but, you know, Julie, you're so young, and this place, you know, all these places, they're corrupt, and it's very dangerous. People get killed there, and all of these things, and trying to instill all that fear in me. But that same person, as we were talking before we came to that topic, she was telling me, we were talking about the world, and she was saying, there's so much evil going on in the world, and if there's a God, so what is he doing? Because we were talking about Christianity and all of these things. And I mean, most of us Christians, we would not say if there's a God, you know, why do we have all that nonsense going on in the world? But because we don't do anything, we're actually saying the same thing. We're actually asking the same question. Where is this God if, you know, so much evil is going on in the world? So we should really ask ourselves what type of Christians we want to be. What types of Christians are we? And what does that mean? What does that mean to God? And what does that mean when we have to leave this earth? When the time comes for us to leave this earth, what have we left with? What is it that we have done in order to leave this world? Because at the end of the day, the truth will come and hunt us. It will come and hunt us if we don't stand up for it. So that's all I have to say.
Hello everyone, good evening. I find the story really interesting, so I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. With this guy, I come from Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich. I find it really interesting that with all the choices that he made, which was really totally selfless, newlywed, going back to Germany, and only 2 weeks before the war ended, he died. That was the most significant part for me.
in this, because sometimes, you know, we think that there's the reward of doing the right thing is also living to see the benefits of it, or even surviving. You know, we always choose the right thing because we think, okay, if I choose the right thing, I would always get the right result. Yeah, the right reward. But you know, it got me thinking that what is right, I know it's in the Bible already, but I didn't connect it. What is right in our eyes, that is not what is right in God's eyes. And also now I've learned that, you know, self-preservation, thinking that this earth is the most important thing and you want to hold on to it and stay on this earth, is really not. Because God could have spared him if he wanted to, but I believe there's a better place and there's something better for him in heaven. So why should he be here on earth? You know, I know we're mere mortals and, you know, we don't know what is in heaven. We've only experienced earth. But we really are not experiencing the greatness of this earth if we're not living in truth and we're not doing something that is morally right. And I'm sure that in our hearts of heart, because I experienced this, and I'm sure even you listening to me now individually, you know that you made so many choices in the hope at the time that you were enjoying something, but that thing was short-lived. It didn't last. Use those lessons of those past experiences to make the right choices now. Don't continue to make the wrong choices or do something that is comfortable or is comforting to you because it is comforting now. We have all done it, and some of us continue to, but you can put a stop to it. Only you can put a stop to it. So remember this guy, and always remember also that you might not end up, you know, enjoying life as you know it, but there's going to be a better reward for you. And it might not be here. I have never been to heaven before, but I know that just the story, just being able to tell the story in history, this guy will stand forever. And, you know, you might say, well, I don't want to stand forever. I just want to live my life on this earth. No, yes, you can say that. But living your life on this earth is really, that makes it peaceful and comforting, is from God, and it's from you doing the right thing. It's not by you doing what you think at this point in moment that it makes you feel good for that one point. There's so much more to life, and there's so much more, there's so much more that you don't know. So just do what is right and what is moral to do. So I really, I was really impressed with him, and I was amazed that he died. Well, maybe not amazed is not even the right word, but that's a big lesson for me that I will never forget, that he died 2 weeks before. So to me, it seems like everything that we said about the guy up until even when he died were great things. Why would somebody like this die? So maybe he also answers many questions like, why do righteous people suffer? Why do babies die? People that haven't committed sin. You know, this earth is not everything that, you know, it's the best. There must be much more, and God has got much more better things for us. I'm not asking anybody to commit suicide so that they can go to heaven sooner. But while you're here, you have to do everything right and truthful. You know, be absolute in truth. Do all you can, even if it hurts you at that point, and even if you cannot see a reward that is pleasing to you or that you understand. Just know what is right, because God is giving you sound mind, and use that sound mind to make the right choices. There are millions of people on earth during the time of this guy, and only him that we're talking about now in 2017. And I'm sure that we will be talking about him and other people even after I've left this world. Maybe they might talk about me. I hope that they do talk about me in a positive way. But don't sit there and, you know, say, you know, we all make a lot of excuses. This is also should be to people that are married, they have children, they make excuses. I can't do this because I'm married. I can't do this because of my children. I'm this, I'm that. You know, this is somebody, it's a guy. Or you might now say that, oh, it's a guy. Because I'm a woman, it's a different case. When there is a true will, and that will is the will that is aligned to God, you will find a way to do it. But if you want to continue to do something selfishly and do it because of you, you will get the reward of selfishly. And that's you lacking contentment. You will still not be content. I'm telling you this from experience. You know, I did everything that I wanted to do, and I did them selfishly because I think this is better all the time. It doesn't matter what you have. You will not be content. Your heart will not be content. So you might be living and smiling and, you know, pretending that everything is fine, but it's not fine. And you know that in your heart. So please take a leaf from this guy's courage, this guy's honesty, his moral standing, everything, and use it. You know, look at parts of his life that could help you, to develop in the way that you're supposed to, in the way that your Creator intended for you. And, you know, always find him to align your ways with his ways. You know, it's just, truth is absolute, and not being quiet because it suits you, not being silent because it doesn't rock the boat, not being silent because it makes you look good in front of somebody. You know, what makes you look good in front of God? I think a lot of the time as well, we want to look good in front of human being, but we don't care how we look in front of God. And we say that we're Christian and we're children and sons and daughters of God, but we're not. And because if we are, we will think about what makes us look good in front of him, not in front of men. Okay? So that's all I want to share about this. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, that's it. I'm sure you guys have been blessed greatly by this program. That's a character there, DIETRICH Bonhoeffer. DIETRICH Bonhoeffer. Well, so I hope we'll be able to make the right decision. And again, I want to commend all those people who are out there and who have started to speak out. So let's begin to speak out. Okay. Olusegun Dada says, DSA family, please, we really need to speak out and save the church from this end-time robbery. I just listened to a message now where the speaker also ended by asking for 50 people who could donate $1,000 each. Imagine, and saying she felt, a woman, she felt led by the Holy Spirit to do so. That's why every one of us must begin to talk out. We must all begin to speak out and raise our voices. And thank God for the movement against deception in the church. So please join and let us, raise our voice and begin to stand for what is right, what is true. All right. Have a wonderful, please go and share the message if you have not yet shared it. And I will see you tomorrow. But tomorrow we have Ask Pastor Sunday. We have 3 live programs tomorrow. We have Ask Pastor Sunday, then we have Kingdom Fruits, and then we have the continuation of the Plague of Silence. So tomorrow I'm talking, like I said, in the evening about Martin Luther King Jr. God bless you guys. Bye. Hello. Bidemi, welcome. Elizabeth Ali, nice to see you today. Rochelle White, you are the first one today again. Almost missed you. Innocent Magaji. Bonsoir. Welcome, everyone. Please go share the link. Williams Olatunde, Adeleke Adeniyi, Patrick Christian, hi. Anastasia McDonald, we're expecting you in Kyiv with your hobby. Ahema Mensa, welcome everyone. Mike Emfries, you've been traveling. It's been quite a while. Pato Bazi, welcome everyone. Please, as you are coming in, go right there and share the link. Ridegbenro, welcome. Please go look for the share button. Emmanuel Stephen, go share the link, please. Go look for the share button. It should be somewhere under the video. Go share the link, please. Okay, Babatunde, Bumigbenro, husband and wife, you are there. Ofelola, Success, Priska Gold, okay, Jumbo, I think, okay, David Badejo, Noel Okoshuku, Funkeraji, please go share the link, everyone. Evans is here, McDonald. Theophilus Muiwa. Welcome, everyone. Let's go share the link. And here comes Ben Apute with a wonderful, we just finished having a program with Ben today. What a testimony. What a testimony. Ufoma. Welcome, everyone. Victor Steven. Welcome. Kunle Adeni Kwekon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, today's meeting today is going to be on the topic of boldness, the lessons of boldness from Martin Luther King Jr. Because it takes boldness for you to be able to do what we've been telling you to do this week. And what we've been talking about all this week and last week is the plague of silence, that we should not be quiet. So let's see what we could learn from Martin Luther King concerning this topic that we have been examining. And he is one of the boldest people who ever walked the surface of the earth. And he has a whole theology, a whole philosophy about it. And his philosophy needs to be adopted by all of us. We need to learn from the best. We need to learn from the gladiators. And one of the gladiators of our age and time is Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. is not just a gladiator politically. It was a gladiator socially, a champion of civil rights, a prophet of the Almighty God. I'm sure this man is a gladiator in heaven as well. Giant is a giant that is capable of teaching us how we should live to make a difference in our world. If you want to live to make a difference in your world, if there is any one single person that you could study, that you could learn from, it will be Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. single-handedly, with a lot of his colleagues, went ahead and overthrew the America that used to be to the America that we now know today. It's not easy. It was not an easy fight, but he had to pay the ultimate price, the price of his life for it. But before he gave his life for the change that we're experiencing today, he saw the promised land. He was like Moses, who did not enter into the promised land with the children of Israel, but he was shown it in the spirit, and he saw that the children of Israel were actually going to inherit the promised land that was promised to their fathers. Same with Martin Luther King Jr. Because God knew that it was time for him to leave, he had to be, God made it in his mercy possible for him to see the glory, to see the coming glory, to see the future that we are now seeing. Even to the extent that a black man now has led this nation that used to make people like him slaves. The same nation that used to enslave people like that, blacks, was now being led by a black president. And it looks normal to us. But people who fought for it, and people who lived in the days of Martin Luther King Jr. will tell you that that time, it was like it would never happen. But because of the power of faith, and because of the power of vision, and because of a whole array of qualities surrounding boldness and standing for something that Martin Luther King Jr. had, and which we are going to learn from him today, he was able to change his generation. Now, the question I have for all of you that are here today is, why are you here today? Are you here today to be a change agent just like Martin Luther King Jr.? Or you are just here today because, you know, this is another lesson, this is another preaching that you needed to hear? If you are just here, not just even for this preaching, but why are you in the world? It's interesting for me to know from you why you are living in the world. I don't know if everybody is like me, but in my mind, I don't want to live on earth at all. And I don't want to live in the world at all if I am not absolutely sure that I'm going to be able to make a difference on earth and in life. If I'm not sure that I will be able to make a difference on earth, I don't want to be here. Life is not worth it. For me, in my own understanding, life is always connected with a mission. In my own understanding, life is always about coming here to fulfill a divine mission, even if that assignment will cost you your life, even if that would demand from you to sacrifice the ultimate, which is your life. Well, that is what Martin Luther King's story, by President Luther King Jr.'s story taught us. And that is what the life of even Dietrich Bonhoeffer that we studied yesterday, that is what is their lives teachers, that significance and relevance is more important than life. Significance and relevance is more important than life. That is to say, to give your life for significance is a more noble mission than to live but not to be relevant. That is, it is always more profitable to die, to rather die, than to just exist. It is much more valuable, not just in the eyes of the divine, not just in the eyes of God, but even in the eyes of posterity. It is much more honorable to die for a worthy cause than to live a gray life that is not going to be remembered and that does not bring any significance to the very existence, to the very world that you are living in. So people like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, people like that, you know, like we had yesterday, he died in the concentration camp, and he died 2 weeks before the war ended, before the Second World War ended. He died in Hitler's concentration camp. But he had been able to release to the world many of his work and quotations and his beliefs. But he had not just successfully spoken. He had not just spoken. But thanks to his death, even though when he was alive, only few people knew him. And mostly people who knew him were just theologians like him and Christians. But when he walked the walk, when he actually went back to Germany and suffered with the people, and he had a choice not to do that. But when he actually went back, suffered in the concentration camp, and actually gave his life to prove that he believes in what he said, yes, that is what made him to be of significance. That is what made people to know that, yes, he meant what he was talking about. He was not just talking. So life is not just about existence. That's the bottom line of what I'm trying to say. Life, no matter whose life, is about significance. Do you know that there have been people who have never been able to speak and they still make a difference in the world? Do you know that there are people who cannot even walk and they are still able to make a difference in the world? So life is about significance. Life is not worth living at all if it doesn't have it, if it doesn't bring any relevance and significance with it. Because that would mean that God is not a God of purpose. But God is absolutely a God of purpose that plans everything with a purpose. So if there are some people that are supposed to come to the world and they are just supposed to be here and not make a difference, that means that God just can be a waste. God can just be a waster So just to waste his materials, his resources on them and just send them here. It means that God is a time waster. It means that God doesn't have a goal. God is always having a goal. Someone is writing, Susanna, people's journey is different. Not everybody is privileged to know the Lord from an early age. So, of course, you, Pastor Sunday, are ahead of many of us in many areas. Many of us need to still learn what you already know. Oh, yeah, we always have to learn. Even if you knew the Lord from 5 years old, even if you knew the Lord from early age, that doesn't mean that you are going to live a life of significance. You think that it's only Pastor Sunday who knew the Lord from young age? Ooh, no. Before Pastor Sunday, there were millions of people who knew the Lord from young age. And after Pastor Sunday, there are still millions of people who knew the Lord from young age. I don't think you have been watching my program, the Kingdom Fruits. Go to my YouTube page and check out the Kingdom Fruits. You will see that people have been going to church for 30 years from young age, earlier than me. People have been going to church for 20 years, 15 years, and they didn't have a love of significance. Because it's not just about, I wait, God makes something out of me. No, it's all about what you know. It's all about the principles that you discover and the things that you know. So to know the Lord is not enough, my dear. Many people know the Lord, but that doesn't make them anything, But they need to know what they need to know to make them become who they need to become. So that's why we are learning. All of us have to learn. If you know the Lord from a young age and you don't learn, you don't discover the things that you need to discover, you will remain there. You will remain there. So anyway, the reason for what I'm saying is that I'm saying we all need to learn from Martin Luther King Jr. And what are the things that we need to learn from him? We need to learn from him what made him who he is. By the way, one of the principles that will always help you in life, if you really want to make a difference in your life, is remember this principle. Anytime you see somebody who is successful, or who has been able to do what you have not been able to do. Anytime you see people who have achievements that you don't have or that you couldn't even dream about, who have tremendous results, don't just sit down there and say, well, yeah, they are lucky they went to a good school. Oh, yeah, well, I understand. It's because they were born in the right country. Oh, yeah, you can understand because, yeah, he was born in a Christian home. Oh, yeah, he got born again early. Yeah, okay, why not? He has to be successful, yes. He was not born in a communist country like me. Oh, yeah, he was not born in Africa like myself. He was born in England. Oh, yeah, why not? He has to become that successful because of this, because of that. No, that's not the right approach. The right approach is this. You must always remember that when anybody attains any height, any success, any achievement that is not ordinary, that is tremendous, that is out of the order for everybody, that nobody else is doing, or that only few people are doing, remember this. It is only because there are some secrets that individual has discovered that is not known to others. There are some secrets. Behind every great achievement are great secrets. Behind every great success are great secrets. So the right attitude to have is to have that at the back of your mind and say, okay, behind every great success are great secrets. I want to get behind those secrets. I want to discover them. That's why we study. That's why the Bible says in Hebrews that study the life of the leaders who have gone before you, so that you will discover the secret behind their faith. So that you are able to imitate their faith. That means imitate their principles. Imitate the things that makes them tick. And that's why we are studying today. What is it that made Martin Luther King who he became so successful? To be able, if you knew the kind of prejudice that existed in America at that time, it's impossible for anybody to even risk it. I mean, groups like Ku Klux Klan were going all about and were, they were killing people everywhere. But Martin Luther King knew something. Thanks also to his study habits. He studied a lot. He read a lot. He read into history. He went and dug deep. One of the great people he learned from was Mahatma Gandhi. He learned from the German philosophers and theologians. But Mahatma Gandhi influenced him greatly. But also because he was taught well by his father. He was taught to go and become the best. So this man, he cubed himself and he made himself into who he became. He didn't just become that person, Martin Luther King Jr., that we all know today by accident. He became so through hard work. He was trained to be a priest, a pastor, a Lutheran pastor. But that was not enough. That's not what made him to become who he became, because there were many Lutheran pastors, many trained pastors, many people from his same school, same seminary where he studied, that also finished the seminary like him. But what made him thick? I would not like us to go to learn about Martin Luther King Jr. from what people are writing about him, from what other people are saying about him. I would like us to rather learn from him from his own words, from his own mouth. Thank God he died of recent. I mean, he lived in our generation. So he has enough recorded material about what made him tick, what made him to be exceptional, what are the principles. You know, if you notice, I'm bringing out principles from his life. I'm not bringing out stories from his life. I'm not bringing out, what do you call it? I'm not bringing out illusions from his life or superstitions from his life. I am bringing out principles that he discovered. And these principles were only able to come into operation in his life only because he was taught, he discovered them. And because he discovered them and he practiced them, he inculcated them. That is why they were able to work for him. So that is those principles, we want to find them out from him himself, from the horse's mouth. We want to discover the principles that made Martin Luther King the man that he became from his own mouth. And then our own, what will be left for us will be to now pay the price of becoming that person and making sure that those same principles become our principles and that the word becomes flesh indeed. If you have not yet shared this message, please go look for your share button. Look under your video. You will see a button there that you could share, you could press, share that button and encourage people to come on and join if they wish to learn from the life of Martin Luther King Jr. So the first principle that I want to talk about from the life of Martin Luther King Jr., what from his own words, is that he says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. My life begins to end. It was Benjamin Franklin that said that most people die at the age of 25. But they don't get buried till they are 75. So, what do you mean they died? The definition of death, therefore, that Martin Luther King is using could be applied. The definition of death in the mind of Martin Luther King Jr. is not physical death, like most people look at it. So most people deceive themselves and think, I'm here now. I'm eating. I just ate this morning. I just called somebody. I just spoke. I just got married. I just had a child. But they are dead long time ago. So you could be running helter-skelter on daily basis, doing some activities, getting married, but you're already dead. I like that definition of death better. So people like Martin Luther King and what was the name of the person I called right now? what do they call it? Benjamin Franklin, both Benjamin Franklin and Martin Luther King Jr., they understand this, that most people who we greet every day, who we shake or even sleep with and wake up with, are dead bodies long time ago. What kind of death is that makes a man to still be alive, in the sense that he's still going to work and is, marrying and having children, yet is a dead man? What kind of death could that mean? Martin Luther King Jr. helps us with the description of that death. And that death is explicitly written here. And it could be the same thing for you. Look into yourself and examine yourself. Are you sure you are not dead already? Our lives, my life, begins to end the day. Not the year, the day. The day I become silent about things that matter. When I'm not contributing, when I am not being proactive any longer, when I'm no longer challenges the status quo, when I'm no longer standing up for what is right, when I'm no longer challenging evil, when I'm no longer fighting for righteousness, when I'm no longer promoting justice, when I'm no longer hunting down injustice, when I'm no longer standing for God and for the kingdom, my life begins to end. So death, therefore, is the failure of man to be actively engaged with the matters and issues of his time. So your failure to actively engage, to be actively engaged, or to actively engage the issues and the matters that are troubling people of your time. Your failure to raise your voice in engagement, your failure to stand up and stand up to it and say, this is wrong, this cannot be like that, I am not going to tolerate it. That is what makes you to be qualified as a man, as a worthy man. But when you run away and say you want to preserve your life, you actually begin to die. That same life that you want to preserve, you begin to lose it. Because that's what Jesus said. He that wants to keep his life will lose it. But once you are ready to even lose your life, you keep it. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent. Silence, therefore, is one of the greatest indicators. Silence, therefore, is one of the greatest indicators of if you are alive or you are your way out. One of the few means by which you could judge yourself to know if you are dead or alive is silence. I therefore want to ask all of you that are listening to me today to ask yourself, are there issues around you, in your community, in your area, that you have been silent about, that you are still silent about? Are there issues in your church, in your community, in your country, that needs for you to raise your voice and you just shut it down? Are there, like for example, I come from Africa. And I know that there are millions of children that go to bed without eating. And there are millions of children that cannot afford to go to school. And there are millions of children that cannot even eat 3 square meals. And I'm sitting here. But I'm not just sitting here. I am doing something about it even while I'm here. I'm thinking, I am working, I am creating leverages. I am adding value to myself. I am building a bridge. I'm not just talking here. I am getting ready to go and address all those situations in my continent. But once I begin to be indifferent towards them, and they don't bother me again, and I'm not planning, and I'm not thinking, and I'm not, taking actions or getting ready to take actions, or I'm silent, I'm indifferent, I'm the dead man. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Let me tell you something about silence. In cultures of death, there are cultures of death. If you go to a church where they tell you that you should always be silent, be silent. No, it's not your problem. Keep quiet. It's not your problem. Just keep quiet. Don't talk about it. No, don't release it. That is called the culture of death. There are places where culture of death has taken over culture of life. Because any place you go to where they are always telling you to keep quiet, never expose anything, never talk about anything, never raise issues, never discuss, never ask questions, the culture of death has overthrown the culture of life. It could be a church. It could be a family. It could be a society. It could be a community. If you go to a place where things are bad, where things are run down, where things are evil, where the wrong things are taking place, and you are being told that, no, keep quiet, it is not your problem, or they quoting scriptures to you, don't touch my anointed, or you are disloyal, or you are a rebel, or you are just, anytime they are putting measures in place to just cause you to keep quiet, they are imposing upon you the culture of death, because your silence equals the beginning of your death. So in a country where you cannot talk, that is what made communism to collapse. Because they had a country where the culture of death ruled and reigned supreme. That culture of death spelt the beginning of the end of communism. And the same thing is happening right now in North Korea. Cuba was like that. Any society, either it's a church or it's a family, or any place where they would rather suppress the truth, where the truth is not, where darkness is exalted over light, where the truth is suppressed and is not encouraged to be open, to be discussed, where silence is celebrated over civil responsibilities and civil activism. That means that culture there is the culture of death, and it's left for every individual to either agree to succumb to that culture or to protest against it and stand for the light and stand for what is right. So my question to you is, are you already a dead corpse? A dead corpse at 25, waiting for 75 when you will be buried and put in the grave? But you can still resurrect your life. That's the good thing about this death. You could be dead from 25, but at a certain point, you could take a decision that no, from now on, I am going to begin to live. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent. Check your soul right now, everybody. Are there issues that the Lord has convicted you about? I'm not talking about individuals. Don't talk about people. But issues that the Lord has convicted you about. But you have just shied away from it. Well, that is the day you started dying. You could begin to live now. Mary Daniel says, what about the Bible verse which says that he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life? Give me that scripture first. When I see that scripture, then we can discuss it. That's not the way it is written, but you can still bring it. Let's talk about it. But what that scripture, by own understanding, means that it's not talking about issues. You know, somebody can just be opening his mouth and talking about anything. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm talking about issues. And not keeping silent doesn't mean to even talk. You might not even open your mouth. So you are talking about opening mouth, talking. I'm talking about action. I'm talking about reaction. I'm talking about attitude. I'm talking about having the proactive attitude to things that are wrong. You don't necessarily need to talk, but you can still change matters. You can write, for example. You can draw, for example. You can, you can not even write or draw. You can just go and act. What matters in this case that I'm talking about is to change the status quo. So it's not just about opening mouth and talking. Okay, that's a big difference. The next quotation from Martin Luther King Jr. that blessed me and has inspired me, and that is that I believe that is supposed to be a blessing to all of you that I've chosen to use to kind of help you to develop your boldness, is this quotation here, this statement here from Martin Luther King Jr. It says, the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral choice or moral conflict. I will repeat that again. The hottest place in hell, in hell, in hell, in hell, hell is not reserved to the evildoers who are perpetrating that evil, but to those who kept quiet while that evil is taking place, and they see it and turn the other eye. The hottest place in hell is reserved to those ones, for those ones. So that idea about being neutral, or it doesn't concern me, indifference, is the quality that dehumanizes you. Neutrality at the point of, in the front of evil, dehumanizes you. You are not human again. You disqualify yourself from being called human. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral choice or conflict. Every day we have to make a moral choice. You might not open your mouth, but you might open your notebook and put it down. Then when you get home, you go and make your strategy. Build your strategy. And begin to act. For example, I've been out of Africa for 30 years, 31 years. I'm getting ready to go, but I've not gone yet. So what is delaying me? I'm still putting together my strategies. And apart from the fact that, I have other issues here that I'm resolving. But so the fact that you are still putting together your strategy, you have not made noise yet, that doesn't mean that you are not doing it. You are responding in your own way, or you are still preparing yourself. It's just like saying, for example, when Joseph was building the storehouses for the 7 years of famine that is coming, it doesn't mean that he was indifferent. No, he was not feeding anybody yet, but he was building. That building process is also, being alive, taking responsibility. Or, for example, Noah. Is it 120 years that he used to build? Or 70 years? He was building for so many years. Now, there was no, you could say, but why was he? There was nothing yet. But the time of preparation is as important as at the battleground itself. So, the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral choice. The hottest, okay, is it 100 years? Noah was building for 100 years. Okay, 100 years, somebody said. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral conflict. Not those who are doing the evil, but those who are neutral. Not those who are perpetrating the evil in the church, but those who see it and could talk and refuse to talk. Hellfire is waiting for them. Those are serious words. I have another idea. William says, DSA just like the Sacramento experience, I'm working on the best approach to bring it to the public. There is no need to work on any approach. Just tell them that you spoke to Dr. Sunday Adilaja himself. And so Dr. Sunday Adilaja said he will confirm. You tell the story of my talk with you and quote me. And if they are doubting, let them write me. And I will confirm for them. Write an article or do an interview, do a video yourself. Tell the story. The next words of Martin Luther King Jr., because we are learning from him today. Edwin said, wow, DSA is stirring up the lion inside of me. Oh. Well, if it will take so long, then it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Another statement from this great man that really helped me and that helps me to be who I am today. Is the statement that says, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Let me take that again. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of peace, comfort, and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. So if you are the type that runs away from controversy and challenges, you don't have a measure as a man. That's what I say. You dehumanize yourself. You are not a human being. You carry the body of a human being, but you are not yet. A human being is determined not because he has 2 legs. A lot of animals have 2 legs. The measure of a human being is not because you have voice. You think animals don't have voice? All of them speak all kinds of languages. Your measure as a man is in your moral choices and in your power of willpower. What are you directing it to? Like it says here, the ultimate measure of a man is about his choices. What do you choose to do? Where do you choose to stand? If you stand for what is right, okay, Noah built actually for 120 years. You are right, Emmanuel. Emmanuel Stephen is the one who is right. I remember now. It's 120 years that he was building the ark. Yeah. So I was wrong. I was right initially, that is. So, okay, somebody said, DSA, your recent messages are yet to be uploaded on YouTube. Is that so? Okay, we will try to do it by today or tomorrow. All of them are uploaded? Well, you people should control it. Make sure that my messages every day, the same day, they are uploaded. So, let me say that again. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience. That's about choice. So if there are things that are right to do and you choose to escape and hide where things are more convenient for you, it means you are saying you are not a human being, you are a biomass. It means that you don't have a willpower, and your will is what makes you who you are. Your will is your identity. Your will is your personality. Your will makes you to know, who you are, to be able to stand for something. If you are not able to stand for something, you fall for anything. It means you don't have your willpower. You don't use your will. And if you don't use your will, that's what makes you a man. And you are not different from an animal or a tree or anything like that. So the ability to stand for what is right, the ability to fight for what is right, it shows your measure as a human being and as a man. Therefore, never you be afraid of challenges. Never you be afraid of controversy. As a matter of fact, if you are afraid of controversy, it means that you will never attain significance. Controversy is synonymous to significance. If you are afraid of challenge, you will never attain greatness. For greatness is the subtotal amount of challenges that you have that you've been able to surmount. So there is just no way for you to say you want to be great and not embrace challenges. There is also no way for you to say you want to be famous without controversy. You have to embrace controversy. Olusegun Folabi is saying, DSA, I sincerely wish you start a church in Nigeria. People really need someone like you there. Yeah, I want to go to Nigeria for sure, but I'm not just interested in church right now because too many people are doing churches. I don't want them to make mistake and think we are the same. But that's number one. Number two, I would not start a church until God instructs me to do that. But one thing I can assure you is this: the people I will raise, people who are my disciples, they will do it, even if I don't do it. We will raise new generation of pastors who will be taught well on how to do the church in the kingdom way. So the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. That means never run away from challenges and never hide away from controversy. Stand where it is right. If it is right to stand in the midst of controversy, stand there. If it is right to stand in the midst of challenges, stand there. But if it is also right to stand in the midst of comfort, that's where you should stand. If it is the right thing to do to stand in the midst of convenience, stand there. Just do what is right. Stand with the truth no matter what. Omo Bolabo Oluwatobiloba says, wow, so you mean I can't be great without being ready to embrace controversy? You didn't know. It means you are new. You've not been listening to me. And anybody who tells you anything opposite is deceiving you. Is not interested in your progress. It's not possible. Do you want to tell me that Jesus was not controversial? He's the greatest. It's because of controversy that they killed him. You want to tell me that Paul was not controversial? If we had not been controversial, they would have killed him now. They even turned him upside down and killed him. You want to tell me that Peter was not controversial? If it had not been controversial, you would have heard of it at all. People who are not controversial, nobody hears about them. Controversy is the fuel, is the petrol that burns the fire of fame for you. That's why you are famous. That's why you are great. And greatness is the subtotal amount of troubles and problems and adversities that you have been able to surmount. So welcome to reality. On this platform, this is the only platform where, maybe not the only one, but this is one of the few platforms where you will surely be told the truth. You are not going to be deceived. And if you have missed most of my old messages, go find them. They are there on YouTube. Sunday Adelaja Official, Sunday Adelaja Official YouTube homepage. You will see them, in my language they say rekwete. You will see them plenty, beaucoup. The French people say beaucoup. Okay. Please go share the message. If you are here, go find a way to share it. Go share it. Next point that I want to mention and remember about Martin Luther King Jr. is wonderful statement. It says, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people. This falls right in line with some of the things we have been talking about since last week. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over their actions by the good people. So again, you see that silence is one thing you have to totally hate. Not silence in the sense of exposing people, but exposing evil. Not silence about talking bad or backbiting, but about talking about what is wrong and uprooting and fighting to uproot it. So you should never be on the side of the wrong, on the side of evil, on the side of the oppressor. So bad people do evil things. Bad people oppress. Bad people are cruel. Bad people kill. Rapists rape. Armed robbers kill. Drug users use drugs. Or drug addicts, drug barons. They carry drugs, sell drugs. Evil people do evil in the world. But the ones who are silent about them, the ones that are not fighting them, the ones that are not resisting evil, they are the ones committing most evil. The Bible says that resist the devil and he will flee from you. If you are not resisting it, it will overwhelm and overcome you. And not only you, to overcome everybody else. But when evil is being done, with all its cruelty and oppression, we know that those people are bad people. But what are good people doing at that time? Just complaining? That's not the type of thing I'm talking about. Just murmuring? That's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. You are supposed to swing into action, plan out your strategy, and move against evil. Even if that is going to cost you your life. So the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty that is happening in the world, but the people who are quiet about them. Now, that is why I started this, my program, that is called Kingdom Fruits. Why? Because when all the evil things are happening in the society, and we are keeping all the good people in the church, hoarding them, like in prison yard, and we are telling them that don't go, that place is bad, the politics are. Evil is happening there, come to church, don't go there. What we are doing basically is that we are actually those good ones who are not just quiet and silent over all the evil that are happening. We are actually keeping the good people away from being able to interfere and being able to stop and intervene in the evil that is happening. So therefore, in this kind of case, the greatest evil and the greatest strategy is the church that preaches that kind of doctrine. The church that preaches that darkness is too dark, don't go there. The church that preaches that discotheque, casino, politics are evil, they are darkness places, don't go there. They are more evil than the evil people who are perpetrating those things. So that doctrine of just being in the four walls of the church to serve God in the church, that doctrine of making people to remain in the pews of the church and not being released and being sent forth to confront the evil and to subdue evil, that kind of church is a collaborator church, collaborator with evil. Let me say that again. Like, for example, in my country, they tell people, don't go to politics. But you know what the Muslims do? The Muslims go and they are everywhere. Even though we are 50% Christians. But the Muslims are running everything. Why? So the evil, they say, oh, Nigeria is bad, there's no justice, there's no equity. In my own opinion, the most evil are those pastors who have preached that Christians shouldn't go to politics. Stop blaming the Muslims. They want to Islamize, they want to do this, they don't want us to study the Bible, they don't want. It is the fault of the church for preaching the fact that our people, the good people, shouldn't go to confront the evil in the land. It is the fault of the church that is not allowing church members to go and confront crime. That's why the crime is prevalent, or kidnapping or anything like that. Real faith, real Christianity will say, no, we are the light carriers. We carry light. Light. It's not light that should be hiding from darkness. It is darkness that's supposed to be hiding from light. So anytime the good people who are supposed to be the light begin to run away from darkness, they are worse than that darkness they are running away from. Anytime the good people who are supposed to represent the salt and the light of the society are running away from the darkness and from the soup or from the society that they are supposed to go and bring salt to and bring light to, they are the greatest, they are the ones to blame. They commit even war crimes, more worse crimes than those other ones who are already there. Let me show you another wonderful word from Martin Luther King Jr. the one that I personally valued, and it has really helped me to choose my friends. It says, in the end, we will only remember, in the end, we will remember not the wars and the threats and the, and the roaring of the words of our, not the words and of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Let me say that again. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies. Let our enemies say anything they want to say. Enemies, that's why they are enemies now. They hate us. So let them do any evil they want to do. Let them do that. Let them say anything they want to say. But when people say they are your friends, keep quiet also. You better be careful. Did you have friends in the first place? Maybe those are not friends. Maybe those are enemies, but they are the enemies in your camp. At least the one who declare themselves as enemies openly, at least you know that they are enemies. You know how to carry yourself with them. But the ones who say they are your friends, and then evil is happening against you, or something is happening in your life, and they just disappeared. Don't be those friends who disappear when you need them most. They are greater enemy than the enemy you are fighting. Once I started going through trials, and I read this scripture, and I read this quotation, I just knew it was right. When your friends cannot stand by you in whatsoever you are going through, you know they were never your friends. They were taking advantage of you. You know, there is another quotation that says that your friends, they don't ever need explanations. Anybody that is asking for explanation, because if they are your friends, they love you anyway. Even if you did it or you didn't do it, or they love you and they support you and they will always protect you and be on your side. Those are your own people. But the ones that just go under the water and disappear, and they say you are thinking they are your friends. No, they are not your friends. They are people who are hanging around you because of what they're getting from you. Mary Daniel says, most people are lacking the strategy how to face evil situations in their churches because they did not know the outcome. Yep. Very good. They do not know the outcome. Is a good, truthful word. You know, Mary, you need to go and listen to all my previous messages, especially the last 1 month. You just go to my YouTube page. It's called Sunday Adelaja Official. And if you go to the home page, you will see series upon series, series upon series. And if you go to and pick anyone you want, we have talked about all these things, and you will see a lot of them. You will see a lot of them. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies. What does that mean? It means that the words of the enemy will disappear. You will not even remember, because you know they are your enemy. You not even remember. But you'll be wondering, where was this? Where was this? But why didn't he talk? It's not even the words of your friends you will remember, but the silence. You say, oh, that one called. Oh, yes, that one came. Oh, yes, that one said something. Oh, yeah, that one wrote. But these ones, why didn't he talk? Where was he? Which means that the silence of so-called friends are more deadly than the assault of the enemy. The silence of the so-called friends are more deadly. They are more a deadly arrow than the assault, than the gunshot of the enemy. Let me read you a few more passages like this, a few more statements from Martin Luther King Jr. that will really help you to get ready for what life means. He who passionately accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it, it is really cooperating with it. And you accept it when you are silent as well. Another statement he made is, history will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. That's Martin Luther King Jr. The appalling silence of the good people. It doesn't matter what the bad people are doing, but when the good people keep quiet, they collaborate with evil, they actually promote that evil, and they, with their silence, actually perpetrate that evil as well. And the reason why most of us don't act is in this last quote that I'm going to quote from Martin Luther King Jr. The first question which the priest and the Levite asked themselves was, if I stop, you remember the story of the Good Samaritan, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? First of all, I will be late to the service. They might dismiss me. My money will go. I will not be able to feed my family. And I will no money for transport to go back. It's all about me, egocentrism. If I stop to help this man, I will be late or I will be distracted. I was supposed to be going there. How many hours would the hospital take? I don't know. I might not even be able to call. Self-preservation, egocentrism is what is happening. I mean, it's what is hindering us from becoming a real man. Man that God respects. Man that lives for ages and generations to come. So the first question which the priest and the Levite asked was, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? But the Good Samaritan reversed the question. If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? We must always put what is right ahead of our own personal preferences. We must always put ahead of our own ego the truth, what is right. We must always put ahead of us what will please the heart of the Father. The interest of God, the interest of others have to come before our own personal interests. The interest of God, the interest of the kingdom, the interest of other people must be elevated above our own personal interest. If we do the opposite, we are egocentric, and egocentrism will always put us in the wrong side of the table. All right, guys, it's been nice to be with you today. I'm still around and I'm still going to be here. But I want to find out if some of the people here with me would like to share their mind with us. Okay, Doris is asking Jomani, as a pastor, sir, who will you count as a friend amongst the two? One who looks at you to tell you the truth about your errors, or one who finds ways even when they know it will cost them their relationship with you, or one who is all things goes, praise God, singer for you? No, definitely those. If you've known me and you've been listening to me, I don't even need to answer that question myself. Just listen to my programs every day, or go and listen to others, how I've been relating with my staff here. And you see what has been happening. That everybody is free here to exchange and to talk, what they think. Definitely, I prefer people who will look me in the eyes and let me know what is wrong. So if you have not yet shared this message, please go ahead and share it. Anybody would like to share today? Please, ID is the first one. Please come on.
Wow, what a great message. Good evening, everyone on the platform. First of all, I want to congratulate every one of you that have started the movement already. There is fire on the mountain. I am sharing everything, and Nigeria the heat has begun. So, Doctor, thank you so much. In fact, they are just looking at you. They don't know that you are raising many sons. That by the time we start to unleash what has been put in us, all those big cathedrals will be empty. I have a dream that one day Nigeria will be free from every religious manipulation, and sons and daughters of God will be released for them to pursue their calling and their destiny. I have a dream that one day Africa will be free from every religious enslavement.
Yes.
I have a dream that one day Africa will be free from having church in every street.
Where there are no schools.
Where there are no schools, no libraries. Into Africa that we will have libraries and schools and teaching centers in every street.
Yes.
I have a dream that one day African sons and daughters will not travel abroad to go and seek for education, but our education in Nigeria and in Africa will be sufficient enough. I have a dream that one day we will we will not be going to morning prayers before we go to work.
Yes.
But as well, we will go to make some research.
Yeah.
And have personal relationship with our Maker before we go to church, before we go for our work and businesses. I have a dream that our hospitals, our libraries will be in a perfect form. I have a dream that one day our government will wake up to confiscate every buildings and we use it for schools for less privilege. I believe that dream. And that time is now that everybody should wake up. For you who are on the platform, you are not yet wake up. I charge you that this is the time for you to start. If you can write, write. If you can speak, speak. If you can crawl, crawl. In anything you are doing, make sure there is movement. Make sure that you are making our oppressor know that they are enslaving us. I have a dream that one day we are free and the time for our freedom is now. Yes. The sons of God are free. Yes. And we are free. And we are crying freedom at last. Yes. Freedom has come. Today is the day of freedom. And we are free at last. Hallelujah. I celebrate everyone on the platform. I love you, everyone. Thank you, my mentor.
Martin Luther King Jr. today. Wonderful. Great speech. Great speech. Any other person want to talk?
Maybe I'll talk soon.
Okay. I don't finish them.
Hello everyone.
Yeah, settled everything.
Hello everyone. I was just thinking about this and thinking about it in terms of, we're talking about talking and keeping quiet, but we don't only keep quiet when we don't speak. Also, when we don't do the right things, we're not keeping quiet. When we're not fulfilling, we're keeping quiet. When we're not fulfilling our purpose, we're keeping quiet. When we're not running to our purpose and pursuing our purpose, we're keeping quiet, because all this is part of silence. When we're just sitting in our comfort zone and doing the things that pleases us only, we're keeping quiet. So I just want to mention that it's not just about speech of, an action that is wrong, but it's also the action that is not even being created yet. It is new, the purpose that God has put in you, or the actions of you creating something that you are not creating out of laziness, out of nonchalantness, out of ignorance. Just even being in ignorance is keeping quiet, because we all have a duty of care to this world. We have a duty of care to our community. We have a duty of care to our family. So not doing all the right things that we're supposed to and pursuing our purpose and doing everything in our power just to get out of the comfort zone and do what needs to be done is keeping quiet. So this is really something that I need to say to myself. So I'm not just saying it to everyone out there. I'm actually saying it to myself as well. So please let us not keep quiet in many areas, in every areas of our lives. Even accepting something that is wrong just because you don't want to rock the boat. We've spoken about that before. It's wrong. What is wrong is wrong. So this one is really about purpose, about taking action, about you creating that product, about utilizing your time well. If you're not spending your time well and you're not converting, you're keeping quiet. If you're not being proactive in an action, you're keeping quiet. If you're not helping your neighbor or helping somebody out there, you're keeping quiet. If you're going to church and other people are suffering and you're doing just playing house and playing church, you're keeping quiet. So consider everything that makes you keep quiet, not just words, but your actions as well keep you quiet. So thank you.
Okay. Jomani Dory says, fire on the mountain.
Yes.
And I can't wait for it to start to burn. There is fire on the mountain and the churches have no choice but to conform. Great speech ID. Ojelabi said that. Oji Muda said, ID is on fire. Right on, my brother. Boniface Hart say fire all over. Adefila said, I have a dream that our government minds will be renewed to thinking of God for his people. Monica, yes, we have woken up from our slumber. Nkiru said, Dr. ID is on fire. Afolabi, I have a dream that one day I will be the university for the less privileged. Amen. Ujimadu said, ID, my man, I love your spirit. God bless you. Doris said the cathedrals will close on his own when the truth comes to town. Gloria says, wow, I need to listen again. God bless you, Pastor. Dupe say, running, running, running. Jane says, I must always elevate the interest of God, the kingdom, and the people over my own interest. Yep. Elizabeth Ali, thank you so much, dear. Say, I need to digest these stations. Anastasia, thank you, Dr. Sandra Dilaja. We are learning fast in these bootcamp classes. David Badejo said, thank God I did not miss this tonight. Okonko Obiajulu word, the silence of a friend is deadlier than the arrows of an enemy. Same thing I have been writing on in the course of the week. Beautiful. William says, in some churches you dare not raise an issue as the pastors do not welcome any advice. How much more controversies? There are pastors in the U.S. that are fond of saying nobody can advise them to the face of the congregation. Wow. Amazing. Justine says, even in Europe, most of the churches preach that politics, economy, etc. is evil. You are only somebody if you stay in the church and stay busy with the church things. Amazing. Edwin says, beloved family members, I am glad to tell you that since DSA started roaring, some big pastors in Nigeria have started sitting up. They know that tsunami is coming for sure.
That's good.
Anishuku Samuel, we are the light of the world. If we don't get into politics, darkness will rule over us. And Professor Adeleke says, unfortunately, the church puts limitations on their members' calling. Ani, good talk. Light shouldn't be hiding from darkness. Noel Okushuku says at Shegun, one thing I also know is that I'm passionate about revolution. Yes, no one can take that away from me. Susanna says, great topic. Thank God for people like Sunday Adelaja. Thank you, Susanna. Mary Daniels, thanks so much for this broadcast. I'm at the grocery store and still on live. Jomani Doris, I believe the church and most pastors need a rebirth. The number of unbelieving believers in our churches are more than outside. Priska, do not entangle yourself with affairs of this world. How does Christians go into politics? Well, when he talks about affairs of this world, he's talking about sin. He's talking about things that will take you, that will make you to be that you make. That's talking about don't fall in love with things of the world. Don't the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. Don't entangle yourself with things. The entangle means don't put yourself around. Don't make yourself a compromise. Don't compromise yourself. Don't, put yourself under the submission of things that will, that will compromise you for your values. But what we are talking about is what Jesus said: go ye into the world and preach the gospel. Jesus said, go ye into all the nations and make disciples. He said, you are not of the world, but I'm not praying that God will take you out of the world, but that you will go into the world and, and transform it and occupy it till I come. That is the one we are talking about. We are talking about what Jesus said, that the kingdom of God is like the yeast. You are like the yeast. I am a believer. I'm like that yeast that is put into the flour and contaminates the whole thing. That is the one we are talking about. Just like Jesus, also, he was holy, but he was not afraid of contamination or getting himself entangled with the things of the world, but he came to the world. Even though he's holy, he's the Son of God. He's coming from heaven. That is much more holy than any church. But he came to the world and changed the world. If you're asking that question, maybe you have not listened to my Kingdom series or church series. Please go to YouTube and look at the series, the church series, Kingdom series. They will really help you. Pierre Emmanuel John, this message helps to become better and more audacious. Thank you. Ganiyu Tairu, some pastors have started repenting secretly. Oh. Pierre said, thanks for the message. Tells me to change for the better. Olusegun said, no more quietness, no more silence. The time for the revolution is now. Yep. All the other greetings are from Iowa. Olusegun Folabi, I do wonder if our Christian leaders remember that they will not be buried with any of their possessions with the way they are acquiring wealth. Justina says, well done, Pastor. We need only few of you to turn the world around. Thank you. Gani, Pastor, your approach that makes everyone a champion and star in their own very unique way is highly commendable. And that's why I have followed you over 5 years. Wow. You have been of immense blessing, so thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. It's been nice being with you. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow, twice a day. We'll be back 5 o'clock British time, 5 o'clock Nigerian time. And then 7 p.m. 7 p.m. tomorrow, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, and 7 p.m. British time. And also, of course, 12 noon Eastern time in America, and then 2 p.m. Eastern time in America. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. And happy birthday to you, Mayowa. Everybody is greeting you here.
Thank you very much.
Blessings. Bye. I guess again it's Rochelle White that's going to be the first person today again. Onishuku Samuel, you just wrote before Rochelle White. Yeah, that's it. I knew that Rochelle White was going to be one of the... Mufelola, welcome, welcome everyone. Bidemi, welcome. Adeleke. Ladi, Shoronke. Favor, blessings, good evening. As you are coming in, please go ahead and share the link with your friends. Williams, Elo, let's go share the link with our colleagues. Ravel or Ravele, welcome. Monique, please go share the link, and as you do, invite your friends and get ready for the word. From Adewusi, welcome. Paul Oriade. Oriyomi. Peace. Shimdimdu. Peace. I heard that you are on all cylinders these days. That your platform and your videos are really making congratulations to you. Adebayo Samuel, Bisoyo Yeleke, Mahame Osei. Well, welcome guys. Today we are going to be continuing to talk about the series that I started 2 weeks ago. The plague of silence. The plague of silence. And so we're going to continue this series. But it's not just going to be a continuation. It is also the last of the series. It's going to be the last one. Today is the end of this series. It's the last program in the series. So from tomorrow, I'm going to start another series. So the series on the plague of silence is coming to an end. And so since this is the final one, this is going to be the last message. I am going to use this opportunity to encourage you and inspire you and instill some faith in you based on the Word of God. And I really hope that this message will, crown all the other messages in the sense that it will give you some foundation to stand on so that you will, be confident of the fact that it is okay for you to face the challenge of your generation, that, you'll be more comfortable about speaking the truth without being afraid of the consequences. And so the whole thing we are talking about, to wrap it up again, is about the plague, the danger that is in the culture of silence, and how dangerous the culture of silence is, and how evil actually the culture of silence is. There is a danger in the culture of silence, and not just a danger, there is actually an evil in the culture of silence. So if you are part of the people that are normally quiet about the things that are happening around you, you are a collaborator. You are a culprit. And you are not just a culprit, but you are actually committing more evil than those people themselves who are the perpetrators of those evils. And because you know about the evil and your silence equals consent, it means that you are actually arbitrating them. You are supporting them. You are promoting them with your silence. And we have made that point clear, I think, enough for the 2 weeks of this series that has been going on. And I've begun to see some results, in the sense that people who were not proactive before, right now are more proactive. People who have been on the platform and have not done anything, and have not been releasing any of their messages to the world, who have not been speaking, who have not been correcting anything, now they have started speaking out little by little. Some people have started writing articles, some people have started doing videos, some people are just writing or posting some quotations. So in any form or way that you have decided to speak out, you are actually lending your voice to God. The truth is that God doesn't have a voice other than ours. God doesn't have it doesn't have legs other than ours. It doesn't have ears other than ours. It doesn't have hands apart from ours. We are the ones He is hoping on. We are the only ones He is looking up to. So we are all, anything we do, we are supposed to be doing it as God's instrument, as God's servant. So today, if you have decided to actually, begin to speak the truth and expose the work of evil, and promote righteousness, if you have decided to be on the side of truth, if you have decided to be an agent of light, then you have to be assured that you are on God's side. Anybody that has decided to be on the side of truth is on God's side. Anybody that has decided to be a promoter of light is a majority, because that is who God is. God is light and God is truth. Besides that, I also want to say that today I will be talking about fear. Do not fear. If you have decided to do something for God, if you have decided to become God's voice, do not fear. If you have decided to be on the side of the truth, do not fear. If you have decided to be an agent of light, do not fear. So do not fear, not just because you convince yourself not to be afraid, but because it is God's position when you are not fearing. Let's see some of the scriptures that will help you to understand that there is no reason for you to be afraid. Proverbs 29:25. That's the one I will start with tonight. Proverbs 29, verse 25. Proverbs 29, verse 25. Proverbs 29:25. It says, "The fear of man brings a snare. The fear of man puts you in a snare. The fear of man puts you in bondage, in snare. But whosoever trusts